I'll go ahead and queue up TikTok and we'll start the live in three, two, one. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal, if you want to call me that. Or if not, you can comment on my ugly ass all you want. Anyway, we have started the live off. I want to run this one by you folks because many have grown tired of hearing all of the folks just constantly. You see them in the news. It's predominantly people of color going in stores and running out with a bunch of shit, and then they got the shop owners on television complaining about how they can't even stay in business because people are ripping them off so damn bad. Well, apparently, to solve this issue, the state of California has made shoplifting a felony, an actual felony. And there's a video floating around of what looks like two African American women in the back of a police cruiser, and one is letting the other one know, this shit is a felony now. And it's been all over right wing media because they are championing, they are quite pleased with this very tough on crime stance, in my opinion. Very, very tough on crime stance. I mean, a felony? Wow. How long does a felony stay on your record? I think it's about, 7 years or more? So this is nothing to joke about. I mean, if you actually get caught up shoplifting, and in a felony, 7 years. So we're talking about making this a felony, and that has passed in California. Apparently, 70% of Californians voted for, I think it was called Prop 36. 70% of Californians voted to make shoplifting a felony. So we're going to talk about that, whether you think that is legit or maybe that's going overboard. I want to do something else we haven't done in a while because he's on his way out in less than a month. We're going to be judging the Biden presidency from one aspect, from one single aspect. Now, President Biden promised if you elected him, he was going to be the unifier in chief. He was going to be the one to bring America together, suggesting that Trump had been so divisive, it was about time we put someone in to unify this country. I want to ask you folks, how successful was he at doing that? Do you feel Biden himself let the country down after promising to unify us? Because that's exactly what he did. Now, keep in mind, during his term, he started out by referring to January 6th protesters as white supremacists. He also, did you see the whole dark? He addressed the nation. It was dark. He had a red background. There were two Marines standing on either side. He referred to Trump supporters as ultra MAGA, and it was not meant to be in a positive light. Now, the Trump supporters, MAGA adopted that phrase, and they took lemons and made lemonade out of it. But he did refer to Trump supporters as ultra MAGA, and of course, towards the end, just a few months ago, he referred to Trump supporters as garbage. Very similar to the ultra MAGA comment. Trump shows up, I think 24 hours, 48 hours later in a garbage truck during the campaign. Once again, turning lemons into lemonade. Trump has been very good at doing that. So much for unity, right? Because he promised to be a unifying president, yet he is indeed referring to Trump supporters with a hell of a lot of negativity. But do you hold it against him? Do you hold President Biden, do you hold it against him that he promised to unify this nation, but continue to slip up and say insulting things about Trump and Trump supporters? Or was he pushed into a corner? We'll certainly discuss that. But today's live stream is going to be a little different. We normally have two topics, and those are the two: shoplifting, a felony, and grading the Biden administration. But today, for shits and giggles, we do have a third topic. I want to run this by you. Now, today's live stream, I'm going to be primarily speaking with MAGA. So I have the TikTok side on sub only because I want to really get down to the nitty gritty with my MAGA side of the audience because most of my TikTok viewers lean left. But today I do want to talk to the MAGA side. But of course, if you are on TikTok, I will take the call regardless of what your political affiliation is, and we'll talk about it. But the third topic, now President Trump is promising to get rid of essentially everybody. It doesn't matter who you are or what you've done since you've been in the country. If you came and you are not here legally, hence you are an undocumented resident and or an illegal alien, he's talking about getting rid of you. It doesn't matter if you committed any additional crimes since being in this country. He's talking about getting rid of you. So, having said that, knowing that if you are an undocumented resident, Trump wants you out, and he's proposing legislation that requires law enforcement at all levels to pass any undocumented resident they come in contact with over to the federal authorities for possible deportation. Now, most folks who supported Trump, and there was an overwhelming majority of Americans supported Trump, he did win a popular vote, but most Trump supporters agree that any member of law enforcement that comes in contact with an undocumented resident, they should turn them over to ICE, immigration, customs and enforcement. And if they qualify to be deported, so be it. But what I want to ask you folks is this. If immigrants know that if they come in contact with the police are likely to be mandated to turn them over to ICE, do they make the perfect victim? I did a video on this earlier, and I want to run it by you folks. Now, what I mean by a perfect victim is this. Let's say an undocumented or illegal immigrant is being robbed or being sexually assaulted or, God forbid, something worse. How likely are they to dial 911 if they know they will be arrested, detained, sent on down state, and possibly deported when the police get there? In other words, you're being victimized, but if you call the police, they're going to treat both of you guys like you're criminals. So if you are an American criminal, would it give you some sort of an advantage knowing that as long as my victims are undocumented residents, the chances of them dialing 911 to report me are very low? Let's say, for instance, you're attracted to your neighbor and you want to do some things. Do you feel confident she's going to dial 911 if she knows they're going to take her in handcuffs away and deport her too? So I'm asking that question. Does the fact that Trump want all law enforcement, regardless of what level they are, beat cop right on up to the FBI, anyone that knowingly comes in contact with an undocumented resident, they must hand them over to the federal government. Will that make undocumented residents and illegal aliens hesitant to reach out to the police if they become victims? Because at that point, the police are no longer their friends. We're going to talk about that as well, because that is what Trump is promising, and many are suggesting that this could happen. So we're going to go straight to the box before we go to the comment section, and we'll go straight to Unapologetic Black Man. Good evening, or welcome to the program, Unapologetic. So what do you think? Perfect victims? Are you there? Yeah. Yeah, loud and clear. So can you see what I'm suggesting? Can you see where they may become perfect victims?
Yeah. Yeah, sadly, we said this though. I think me and you had a conversation about the slippery slope of mass deportation, or the scare of mass deportation. Like, not to say it like that, but if I was illegally here, I would report getting raped to, at least for my child to be a citizen here.
Yeah. Wait. You said, so if you got assaulted, you would report it?
Yeah, it's still going to be a American citizen rape me.
Yeah, but if you report it, they're going to kick you out of the country.
No, I mean, like, if you're about to have a child and they don't care, like, you're not married to American.
Okay, so you're saying if you are assaulted by an American citizen and impregnated in the process, then
Yes,
you will report it because your child is technically an American citizen.
yes.
That's a
Or
hell of a
about to have,
conundrum. That's a,
or about to have a child, and tell them they're like, hey, this was a child of grape or whatever.
yeah, but you do realize that.
It's your child.
Yeah, but you do realize that President Trump is also trying to get rid of the anchor baby statute, so that if you are not here legally, even if you have a child on American soil, because your residence is not legally, the child is not either.
Yeah, I mean, but at least you'll have time for your child while they're trying to get rid of. You have to go first, but at least you'll have your child here for a while until they try to get rid of. I don't think they're going to get rid of that anchor baby because his damn kids are anchor babies. Trump kids are anchor babies. You gonna get your own damn grown ass kids?
Well, you know what? You know how our parents used to tell us they're unapologetic. Do as I say, not as I do. So the fact that his kids are that might not mean a damn thing.
Yeah.
So good luck with. I hope you're right, but I don't know. It seems like there is a large amount of favorable Americans, and I'm talking about even some liberals and independents that do favor getting rid of the anchor baby statute.
Again, to me, a lot of people are. This is not the politics I grew up with. Politics I grew up with, even Republicans knew that immigration is good for our country, especially the billions of dollars that they put in and they can't withdraw at the end of the year. People forgetting we're going to lose all that money. They forgetting that the jobs that even black people now are too fucking uppity. We ain't picking shit. I don't even pick the aspirin out my the cotton out with the aspirin bottle.
You said. You said I don't even pick the cotton out of the aspirin bottle.
I just get the pills around that shit.
Oh, that is funny. I don't even fuck with the cotton in the aspirin bottle. I get it. That's funny though. That's real funny.
Yeah. We're not. It's not just that, but like it's just certain jobs. Certain people have standards, and that goes for fast food jobs also. I know a lot of people, grown men like my age. I'm 43. I don't see a lot of 43-year-olds happy to be running to go work at Walmart.
That is true.
Or McDonald's and stuff. So like it's just things that people.
But wait a minute. But Trump is suggesting that if you get rid of these folks who are taking quote unquote black jobs, it would lead to a bunch of 43-year-olds doing those jobs again.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I don't see how you got that many black votes when you were saying shit like that about us. Like, that black job, we still.
The transgender, I tell you right off the bat, the reason Trump got a lot of black votes is because people do, because I got relatives that are in Chicago telling me like, we need to get these people out of here. They getting all kinds of EBT Carson links and all kinds of resources that we would never get.
Yeah.
That really, you got to give a shout out to Texas Governor Greg Abbott and to a lesser degree Ron DeSantis. Busing those immigrants to liberal cities was really effective.
It damaged the shit. I was telling a lot of people that they didn't like that I said that it was damaging the Democratic Party.
Yeah, it was really damaging. It's been really damaging.
Yeah, and again, it would have been very inhumane of the Democrats, and that's another fault of the Democrats, but progressive of them, that they're more humane than Republicans are. Republicans were sending women and kids like 0 below weather, dropping.
Yeah, but the thing about it is as inhumane as what the Republican Party did, they won, and you are right.
Yeah,
they were sending them up there with no coats or any damn thing.
Yeah, and the Democrats should have, a lot of people hate I say it, but Democrats should have inhumanely sent them right back. If it was going to be a ping pong, it was going to be a ping pong match, but we don't have the resources for that because everybody knows how sanctuary cities are. Sanctuary cities really not even sanctuary cities.
Yeah, but you can't call yourself a sanctuary city if you go send them right back. If your city's a sanctuary city.
I don't think people know what a sanctuary fucking city is. They think a sanctuary city is like any immigrant could just, like, you could just unalive 13 people in Mississippi, then run to Chicago and be like, me no speak.
No, they don't believe. Well, they don't believe a sanctuary city is necessarily a city that's eager to house criminals, but they do believe a sanctuary city is one that views illegal immigrants from a humane perspective. The non-sanctuary cities don't give a damn. Like you said, even if you got a coat in the wintertime, the non-sanctuary cities treat you like animals that are vermin, as Trump said, vermin that are poisoning the blood of the country that need to be evicted. That's what the non-sanctuary cities treat you like.
Yeah, and again, like I said, the propaganda worked perfectly, and the you can say what you want, but the racism off because it was the brown immigrants. Because nobody cares that Ukraine has been sending fucking plane loads of immigrants over here since their war kicked off. Russians been coming.
Have they really though? We haven't taken in a whole lot of. Have they really? We haven't taken in a lot of Ukrainians.
Yeah. We've always taken in white refugees from countries over there. And again, people would say like, oh, they're from Kazakhstan. They're white. Those are white people. Shit, you shave his beard off, take that damn turban off his head, he's a white man. You don't know that. That's how those people hijacked 9/11. They didn't come on there with turbans and Sikh. They didn't have
They were clean shaven. They were clean shaven.
Yeah, they're clean shaven. They look like white men. So again, we don't care about white immigration in America. It's just the fact that brown people now are immigrating, and not just the immigration, it's the fuck that we multiplying too.
So what are you suggesting, that America is inherently racist, at least on the immigration standpoint?
Yeah. When they start seeing too many damn brown babies, and then now the brown babies growing up and knocking up their little white kids, hell no, y'all doing too much now.
But how the hell can you blame little brown babies for knocking up white kids? It ain't like the white kids are complaining that they were being violated. If the chick wants it, the chick can get it. I mean, it's not the fault of the man. I mean, because some people like interracial type shit.
I mean, it's just like, people fought back on Sam Cooke's song, and it was the shit, but people don't like change coming. They don't like the fact that society is moving in a more progressive state. So what they can do is revert back to mom and dad. Like, we all do that. We all have that instinct that when something goes bad, you fall back to the people that you can trust, and that's usually our parents, sadly.
But let me ask you this, though. I get your point, but is it possible that America has taken this stance because Biden fucked up that bad? Is some of this on Biden? Has the country, embraced Trump and moved to the right significantly because Biden did a bad job?
No, it was propaganda. It wasn't a bad job. Trump and Biden both had a horrible ass pandemic that hit them. For some reason, nobody cared about what Trump did, and they put it all on Biden. And we recovered faster than any G7 country. Yeah. So the propaganda worked. It worked. And sadly, America, like I told you, I started watching your show and subscribing because it was like Jerry Springer. Like, we don't have Jerry Springer anymore, Tim. We don't got more report. We don't got any other good talk. Ricky Lake, all them gone.
All I do is invite. Hold on, let me make it clear. All I do is invite free speech. I am MAGA friendly from day one. Always will be MAGA friendly, and because I invite free speech, it can get kind of heated at times. But that's how free speech works. I allow folks to be
entertainment.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
It's great entertainment, and people have to find it where they can. And like me and you said when I first met you 4 years ago, January 6th, Trump has, I guess that if one thing Trump did, he brought everyone into politics. Now, did he bring the smartest people? Was he bringing his best? No, he brought a bunch of rapists and murderers.
Damn.
But I mean,
damn.
He brought a lot of people to politics, made a lot of people pay attention. And projection. He came with projections. He let it, that was Trump MO from, if you know him in New York.
Yeah.
He jumps on you first, makes everybody think you're the bad person, you're a liar, nothing you can say you can trust. But me, I'm that guy. I'm that motherfucker that you should trust. Don't trust anybody but me, Like right now, we're going through saying that Biden was the failure in chief, but for a senile old man to get the economy back up, everything back open, like I said, stadium still.
I get your point about the economy, and from all the analysts, it appears to be true that the economy is back roaring. But does the average American earning a paycheck, living day to day as paycheck to paycheck, do they feel what the analysts are saying when they go to the grocery store? When the average American employee go to the grocery store, or go pay for fuel at the pump, do they personally feel like the economy is as good as Biden and the economists are saying? Because perception is reality. Do you feel personally like things are going great?
Yeah, I think people are just lying.
Or really?
Yeah, you look on the internet right now. You know how many goddamn cooking shows right now? Everybody cooking on this damn TikTok app right now. You turn on Facebook, Instagram. People got food. Kitchens are full. Like I get that but again, people like I said, politics haven't been like this. I'm used to adults understanding like, well, shit. If beef went up 59 cents, it's not gonna go down. It might go down 7 cents, 6 cents in a year, but it's not going down after that 50 something cents.
Well, but Trump
Now
did
I'm
promise
saying-
to. But Trump promised to turn back inflation. He's talking about $2 gas. Talking about bringing down. He is promising to do the unthinkable.
Yeah. Yeah, they was dumb for thinking he was gonna do that. Was stupid.
Well, before I let you go, I want to read a comment by Big Daddy Dink. He says, "I'm a white man, and to all of the black men who voted for Trump, welcome aboard the Trump train." Are you on the train now?
Hell no. Why would
I had to read it.
the tangerine tyrant train? Hell no. The percentage of black people voting on the conservative side has never exceeded, like we always say, they would never.
It's pretty low. Yeah, he did very well with Hispanic men and even better with Hispanic women. With blacks, particularly with the black women, he got 7% of the vote. But black men, he did get a little bit of movement with black men, but the black women wasn't hearing none of that shit.
Yeah, he did. But we have to also remember that he didn't get the same amount as black men, nowhere near the amount of black men that came out and voted for Obama.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that he did so well with
a lot of black men? Yeah, a lot of black men don't vote anyway. That's bad, Tim. Like a lot of us don't vote anyway.
True.
And we gotta have some type of movement, progressive movement, to actually get our ass up there. Like Obama.
But wait a minute. Why did he improve so much with Hispanics, but so little with blacks? I mean, both categories are minorities.
Religion. Latinos, Cubans, Venezuelans. I mean, even when they come over here, they're conservative. They believe in, that their country is communism or socialism. So when they come over here and they hear that liberal is socialism or communism, they think like, oh my God, I've got to go. And then religion and abortion is a lot of their topics. Like, they're really religious. So way religious than, our aunties. Our aunties was just, feeling the spirit in gospel. They're really religious. You know what I mean?
So it sounds like you're saying J.D. Vance 2028.
That's scary as shit. Why would you say that?
Because of what you just said. If he won a Hispanic vote, because of those reasons you gave, that ain't gonna disappear in 2028. J.D. Vance is very, he gonna bring the evangelicals right along with him too. In fact, J.D. Vance is probably more religious than Trump. Trump is not religious. He's on video saying he never asked God for forgiveness. He's on video saying he is not a Christian. So wait till a real Christian comes along. It's gonna even be stronger.
Yeah, but like he said, and they always, if you notice on the polls, the religious people really don't vote much more anymore either. Like a lot of religious people are swaying away from voting because they don't like either side. They on some anarchy.
Why wouldn't they like Trump though? Trump has done a hell of a lot for evangelicals. They should love him.
Remember, he told the evangelists, he was like, I know y'all don't vote evangelists, but I need y'all to vote this one time. After this vote, you don't have to vote anymore. And if you see still, out of their population, I think only like 68% voted. Like a big portion of them, they don't vote. Like a lot of religious people are done with politics. Also, they don't think the government on either side is going to help them, especially when it comes to, they scared that anybody's going to take their fucking taxes from them because both sides would do that.
Everybody's afraid of that. But it looks like he won, and I'm telling you, J.D. Vance, don't sleep on him. I got to move it on to unapologetic.
To me, like I told you when we first met back in the day, I think the Republican Party is fucked because they gave Trump too much momentum. There's nobody, like Democrats, I give it to them that they always have, like somebody can fill Kamala's shoes. Well, Kamala can now have more than 100 days to run against someone, because remember, she only had 100 days to run against Trump.
You do realize she is completely history. She's like, you may not ever hear, she may be just like Tim Kaine with Hillary Clinton, Al Gore. You may not ever hear from her again.
I don't know. Like I said, 100. She got that many votes in 100 days.
That's hatred for Trump. That's hatred for Trump. That wasn't love of Kamala. That's hatred of Trump.
But again, that's what I mean. When Trump is out the picture, the Republican Party doesn't have that momentum anymore. They're done.
But shit, he may not be out of the picture for another 10, 15 years. I mean, as long as he's alive, MAGA's going to live on.
Yeah, you're right. Tangerine Tyrant.
All right, and we'll catch Kamala Harris in the Tyler Perry movie. I got to move it on. Catch you later. All right, moving on with the program. And yeah, I do believe that Kamala Harris is probably toast. I don't see her. You know, some folks are saying that she might become a senator or a governor over in California. I don't know. We have to see what happens, but I don't know about that. I'd be curious to see that. Maybe in a far left state like or a more progressive state like California, anything's possible, but I don't know. Anyway, tap the screen, folks. Appreciate if you could get the likes up to about 10,000. I do have it set for sub only because I want to address some of the MAGA in the crowd a little bit more tonight. So for you folks that are watching, tap the screen, get the likes up to about 10,000. Looking in the comments, this motherfucker hasn't made a single point. I'm assuming you're talking about the caller or maybe even me. Damn. I'd have to put on my spectacles. Who said this motherfucker hasn't made a single point? Dag, is that what that says? Jesus, degrade or something. I'm from Bible Belt, and they voted like crazy. I now live in Hedonia, something like that. They need an IQ test here for well, I do think, he said 62%. I thought it would have been higher than that too. I don't have the numbers in front of me to dispute him, but my guess is if you were an evangelical and you voted in the last election, you voted for Trump. The overwhelming majority of them voted for Trump. Now, obviously black that are Baptist, different story. There's probably some Hispanics for certain that are true Christians and they didn't vote for Trump. But most, outside of that envelope, most went for Trump. It's just, at the end of the day, I guess when you really look at it in terms of wishes, and I'm gonna put wishes in air quotes, wishes in terms of wishes straight out the Bible, Trump granted some pretty big ones. You're now talking about Bibles in school, the 10 Commandments in school, Roe v. Wade has been rolled back. If you're an evangelical and that's what you were hoping for is wishes out of the Bible to have a more Christian society, why would you vote for Kamala? She's pro-LGBTQ and she's pro-choice. You would certainly go for Trump. Even if he's on stage saying he's not a Christian, in my opinion, that would be the person you should be picking. Anyhow, looking in the comments though, wish in one hand and shit in another. Damn, Amish even voting in large numbers for Trump. Yeah, well, I've heard that. Like I said, Trump did pretty good across most of the categories. I think the only category that Trump certainly did not make any gains at all is black women. I think every other category out there, he made gains small to large in every. Black women, he did, 7%. I don't know what he got the first time, but damn, if 7% is an improvement, you didn't get shit the first time either. But fortunately for Trump, that's one of the smallest voting blocks there is black women. Blacks as a race entirely is a small voting block. Now you're going to take a part of that. So you could easily win without black women. You could probably get 1% of the black female vote and win a national election. So it didn't hurt him, but he didn't make many gains with black women. He has, if you watch Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, I don't quite get that one, Jason. Old people full of sins go hide or be in a religion. Wow. So this is what I want to talk about. In addition to that, in addition to just Biden promising to be a unifier and apparently not turning out well, because most Americans do not see where Biden unified the country. They see it just the opposite. I also wanted to ask, I talked about this in a monologue, but I do want to run this by you folks and get your opinion. Undocumented and illegal immigrants making perfect victims. Is it something you even care about? Because I do tend to agree. I'm hearing this on the left. Like I said, I don't. The right ain't gonna mention it at all, but I'm hearing it on the left. That is, if you are an undocumented immigrant or an illegal alien, and somebody is victimizing you, you'd be hesitant to call law enforcement because at the end of the day, they're gonna detain you, place you in handcuffs, and hand you over to the federal. What I said, the federales. They're gonna hand you over to the feds. They're going to hand you over to ICE. So if someone is, you catch somebody breaking in your house, or like I said, God forbid you're a victim of sexual assault or something of that nature, and you're an illegal immigrant, would you really call the police knowing they're going to handcuff and arrest you too? Meaning that if they don't want to call the police, knowing the police is going to detain and arrest them for being here illegally, then they would make perfect victims. If you know your neighbor's an undocumented resident, you know they're here illegally, you can go over there and do whatever the hell you want to them because they're scared to dial 911. Do they make the perfect victims? And also, in addition to that, and I really could see the possibility of that. I mean, if you're an American criminal, they essentially become a good mark, a good target. As we say in the hood, a lick, because they're not going to call for help. They're just not going to call for help. They want to stay under the radar. So they're not going to scream too loud or any of that, because if the cops show up, they're going to jail too. So you could certainly say that many of them would be really good targets. Kind of puts a bullseye on their back. Now, I know a lot of folks on the right probably don't give a damn about that anyway, after all, if you should have thought about that before you came in the country illegally. Looking in the comments, no, I wouldn't call the police, says Randy Harris. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Particularly if it's not super heinous. I mean, but then again, even if it is super heinous, how much do you value staying in America? Let's say you were just violated sexually in the worst way imaginable. Got taken in as an uninvited guest to a P. Diddy party. You stayed all the way till it ended. You are totally distraught. You're unhappy at what has happened to you forcibly. Do you really call the cops? Knowing that, as I said, they're going to handcuff you. When they find out your immigration status, they're going to handcuff you. So do you turn in P. Diddy and all his guests for going through you like a choo-choo, knowing you're going to get sent back? I mean, I know I get the sarcasm, the comedy behind it, but I'm asking, what do you do? Because they're starting to come across like perfect victims. Now, also, and I see AG says, how do I hit the like on TikTok? Well, you can smash that like button. I think the top 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner of your screen on YouTube gives you access to the like button. Yeah, smash that like button on YouTube. I do appreciate that. In addition, I'm also asking, should shoplifting become a felony? California Prop 36. You've seen this all over right-wing media. We need to do something about all of these kids going into CVS and taking every damn thing off the shelves. Unfortunately, they're mostly, African American or people of color doing it, but they now have passed a law in California that it is a felony to shoplift. I don't know the exact limits. I mean, obviously you're not going to get a felony for stealing a bag of potato chips, but it is a felony for shoplifting. Stick, the ruler, good evening.
What's going on, Tim? How you doing?
I'm doing good. What do you think? Shoplifting is a felony now. Is that legit, or have they went overboard?
Well, I don't steal, so I don't care. If they made it a felony, it is what it is.
But I mean, let's say, for instance, you got a neighbor, whose daughter or son gets caught up in this. You've been pretty friendly with. Do you think the kid should be paying for this for a while? I mean, because how long does a felony stay with you?
Well, I see it like this right now. We got a president that's a 34-time felony. He ain't having no problems. So if you're a felon right now, you should not be having any problems. They should just say, okay, yeah, you're a felon. It looks bad, but you're okay.
So what you're saying is,
president's okay.
Right. So what you're saying is, because we now have a commander-in-chief that has 34 felonies, it should change America's stance on how we view felons when they're applying for jobs?
Yeah, because he's an American / a U.S. citizen, and they stand and fight for him and don't care care what he does, but on this felony situation, again, it's the same thing. They fight and they stand for him. So guess what? I don't feel like I should have to feel sorry for a felon because now a felon should be able to do anything that Donald Trump can do. And that's mighty fine.
Do you think that'll work, though? You think that's what's going to end up happening? Is that we're going to start treating... I don't know. I mean, because people think that Trump's charges are a witch hunt, and they don't care if the charges you have on you are a witch hunt.
All I'll say is this. If you have a certain amount of money that you can make a person that has a felony not buy a house or they're not allowed to work here and all of that stuff, you're just killing your own money because, hey, let it be known that felon could be rich like Trump and pay for everything that they got, whether they're doing felonies or not. It shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
He's the president. He holds the highest office and is a felon. So anything a felon right now does, it don't bother.
Well, I hear your point, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to go down that way. I think that Trump got a special... They've opened up a special porthole for Trump that he can go through and nobody else can. I mean, he does have some, I want to call it presidential privileges. There's something orbiting around him. I don't know what to call it, but the second word of it should be privilege.
Well, I would say yes, privilege, but I mean, the only way you can get away with stuff like that and it don't affect you is you got Satan around your ass. You got Satan control.
You saying that Trump, and Michael, thank you for the sub. Michael, the boss, appreciate that. You're saying that Trump has Satan around him? All of the stuff he's done for evangelicals?
Man, that's the biggest trick in the book to make you think that the devil don't exist.
Ooh.
So they've been tricked. I mean, whether you're talking about morally tricked, whether you're talking about policy tricked, whether you're talking about economy tricked, they've been tricked, fooled, and bamboozled. So at the end of the day, the only person that can trick you like that and make you think everything's as roses when you're doomed and you're destined for hell is the devil. So
damn.
Yeah,
Are you really comparing Trump to Satan though? I mean, is that what you're doing?
I'm comparing Trump to one of Satan's minions.
So what is he, a demon? Is he a demon now?
Yeah, he's in the upper echelon of the demons.
What?
He's the leader of the demons.
What has Trump done to make you have this harsh language for him?
Well, I mean, if morally speaking, the way he spoke about his daughter,
he said if she wasn't my daughter, I would probably be dating her.
Well, that ain't the only thing. He had the 1-year-old at one time talking about she has her mother's legs and then her upper chest. We don't know yet. Like, come on.
Whoa. What did he say? Wait. What did he say?
Basically, he don't know about her breast yet. Yeah, of course you don't know.
A 1-year-old?
Yes. That's the point.
Hold on. Let me frame this because I want to make sure I've never heard this before. Let me frame this, and just to make sure I'm hearing clarity in this. You're telling me Trump was in the company of his own 1-year-old daughter, and looked at the 1-year-old and said, "You have your mother's legs, but I don't know if you're going to have her tits yet."
No. That wasn't.
Okay, thank God. Okay, what did he say?
He was on the Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous with Robin Leach. And Robin Leach asked him, what does your daughter, which at the time she was 1 year old, have in common with you and your wife? And he goes, off the top of his head, she has her legs, but, we don't know about basically the breast yet.
How could you look at a 1-year-old and think they have a grown woman's legs already?
Okay, so that's my point.
A 1-year-old's legs normally look like a damn pork chop.
Exactly, and again, that's him and his daughter, and that's just a moral. Okay, so if we skip past that and then go to the economy and what he wants to do to the government, I mean, tear down the government, so there's no oversight. There's nobody there to check him. He wanted $5 trillion and no ceiling. Like, again, he wants to head us to hell. He wants everybody to be on the bandwagon, because he won the election, and he wants everybody to jump off the fucking bridge with him.
Well, everybody seems, some since Trump got elected, his actual favorable numbers have went up. So I hear your point, but it seems like America so far are quite happy they elected him.
So did they go up after he embarrassed Elon, or was it before that?
What did he do to embarrass Elon?
Oh, you haven't heard that he went on the show, and he's very offended about people calling Elon the president.
Well, anytime you upstage him, he's going to be offended. We know that. But he actually said something about it?
Oh, yeah. I'm not worried about Elon. Elon can't be the president. He's not even a U.S. citizen. He can't be the president. Ha, 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 ha.
What's wrong with that? That's legitimate. I mean, that's just telling the truth, is it not?
Again, it's a shot, because at the end of the day, everybody has been telling him Elon is not an American citizen. Elon is from South Africa.
I don't know. I think you're reading into that too deep.
Elon does not belong in a cabinet. He doesn't. He does not belong. But at the end of the day, because he gave Trump all that money, and he helped him all with all the campaigns and all of the other stuff, guess what? He's getting a position. But I got to whoa your horses. And
I don't buy that. I buy that. I agree with your first part of what you said. I don't agree. I don't think that Trump saying that Elon Musk cannot be president and all that means he's offended. I mean, that's the actual fact. He can't be president right now, at least. He legally cannot be president. Trump was just telling the truth.
Guess what? MAGA don't know that, because MAGA don't research nothing.
You think MAGA is so lowly educated, if I'm saying this right? You think their education is so low that MAGA believes that Elon Musk can actually be president?
No. I think that not only is their education and their IQ so low, I also think that they just listen to whatever Trump says. So again, when you got Trump saying, I want Matt Gaetz to be the top cop, and he's got all these allegations out there that have been proven that he's done them, all it takes is Trump to get out there and say, check this out. I know y'all thinking this, but let me just make it clear. He is not the president. He will never be the president because of this. Now, you know how MAGA is about people not being American, but it's just kind of funny that they still like Elon, though.
I would tell you this: we can entertain racism or whatever you want. If a person of color showed up to America with $450 billion or whatever the hell Elon is worth, I don't think there would be any racial issues toward that person at all. I mean, Elon Musk has a lot of money. That can make a hell of a lot of racism go away if there is any. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Man, you start calling Elon Musk an African American, which he is, he gonna have a problem.
Well,
if they've never seen him, and you call him an African, the African American Elon Musk, they're gonna look at you like, oh no, I don't know him. He ain't in my circle.
Well, and that's because they've conflated African American with meaning you're black. But you are correct. Elon Musk is more of an African American than you and I. I mean, he's first generation. I mean, he's more of an African American than you and I.
Exactly. So they need to go ahead and see who they really got. Even though he's not a brother, he's an African American. Do y'all still want to be affiliated with African Americans?
Everybody wants to be affiliated with somebody that's worth $750 billion. Everybody does. I don't care if you got your whole damn face burned off. If you got that much money in the bank, I'd kick it with you. I got to move it on. No, ain't nobody running from Elon. I'm gonna tell you that. He got too much money to throw around. He can literally rub off money on you.
Well, now he's on Ozempic and he can catch anybody, so it don't matter.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And by the way, I've been curious about taking that shit myself. I'm 6'6", 300, and I like to lose a few pounds. I've been the same. I'm not going to get into my own personal story too much, but that he mentioned Ozempic. My doctor was telling me about it. I don't know if you guys have any opinion, if you know anybody that's taking these Mounjaro and Ozempic and all these different drugs, but I mean, hell, if Elon Musk took it, shit. I mean, it's kind of making me think maybe because I'm not a big fan of taking drugs, but I'm like, shit, if I can lose a few pounds here and there, I've been the same size, same pants, same shirt size since the late 90s. Yeah, I haven't changed sizes since the late. But if I could lose 20, 30 pounds, I mean, so I thought about it. I thought about it. Anyhow, look it in the comments. And if Elon Musk and Oprah and all of these folks have been taking it and they don't seem to be dropping dead, hey, if I can get my hands on it, it is what it is. 6'6", 300 pounds. Handsome is definitely never skipped breakfast. That is correct, David Brook. That is correct. But like I said, I haven't been gaining, which is good. Like I said, I can fit the same. I got clothes in my closet that are older than my shorty. You know, I got clothes that could be grown. Some of the shit in the back of the closet. I'm thinking about it too, says Big Bird. Yeah, I haven't. I've been dying to find negative commentary on it. Now, that ain't to say that Ozempic and Mounjaro, some of these companies might not be paying people to remove negative commentary about them off of social media, but I can't find there's not a lot of negative shit on it. It seems to be fairly effective for most people. So, hey, if I can get my hands on it, it looks like my doc is going to make that happen. So be it. Anyway, continuing on, Elon Musk is a smart man. Somehow he is the richest person in the world. 10 children he procreated. Well, when you got his kind of money, you can be Nick Cannon times 10. I mean, you can do whatever you want when you got Elon's money. And child support ain't something to be concerned about when you got Elon's money. I saw a comment earlier from Malcolm X. Somebody named Malcolm X was suggesting, how can you be Christian and MAGA or something like that? I wanted to read it, but it disappeared. But anyway, let me continue on. Boo Donald's Tomatoes, boo MAGA racism, anti-Christ, says demon. Damn. Judge a man by his character and not by the color of his skin. Teresa, 100% agree with you. That is a MLK quote, but America has never done that. America has never been in a position to do that. I don't know how many of you folks may have seen that movie on Netflix, the 688 or whatever it's called, about the females that were putting together. I mean, there's just so many stories in America about folks who were dedicated, whether in the military, politics, in life, and simply being a person of color meant their whole story disappeared from history. So we've never been that way. Dencal, good evening, or welcome to the program. Where you been hiding since the election law? I've been hearing what do you mean? Amen Corner. He said, where have I been hiding since the lost election? Online, talking to you folks. You know how many lives I've done? You found me on YouTube. You could have found me I've probably done 30, 40 lives since then. Dencal, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Hey, I've been hiding out since Kamala Harris lost.
Hey, man. It's them liberal tears, man.
Oh, my God. Yeah,
crying on liberal tears.
I must be drowning in them. So I wanted to ask you, making a felony out of shoplifting, what say you? You think that's legit? You think that it is legit? It's already been passed by law. But do you think that's a good idea?
Well, in order for it to be a felony, it has to be above a certain dollar figure, and it depends on where in the country you are. So, are you talking about?
Let's say you go in Foot Locker and you take 2 pairs of shoes. That's a felony in some places.
Yeah, depending on how much the shoes cost. Yeah, I don't know maybe in some places it's $500 or $1,000 or whatever. But if you steal 2 pair of $20 gym shoes and get caught,
what the hell you gonna find when you broke in an old Payless or something? Where you $20?
some Vans, man.
$20. Shit, you can't even buy the shoelaces for that damn near anymore. But I'm serious. You go into a Foot Locker or some store like that, or even some of the women's stores. A pair of Uggs boots or something like that. You take a couple of those, you could easily cross the $200-$300 mark. And in some places, you think that's worthy of a felony?
No. Whether it's worthy of a felony is one question, but we're already we're over police society. We've already got more criminals in jail than any other
that is true.
nation. Like as soon as they talking about like Trump is talking about putting, if they catch these people coming over a second time or whatever, they're gonna be putting them in jail. Do you know how overcrowded our jail system would be, even if they expanded it?
Yeah, but he's expecting it to be a deterrent, then, Cal. He's not expecting to have to put a bunch of people in jail. He's expecting that if he threatens to throw them in jail, that's going to incentivize them not to come.
That's not. That's not how desperation and poverty works.
I agree. But what they did slow down the amount of folks that were trying to come in this country under Trump compared to Biden. And that number is skyrocketed under Biden, even compared to Obama. When Biden got in office, the amount of folks trying to get in this country skyrocketed.
Yes, for multiple different reasons. But I mean, people were coming across during Trump. People forget all of the times he came on TV
The
talking about
caravans,
these
caravans,
and
yeah.
all of these people. Like, it did not stop people. It may have slowed down, but I mean, when you start putting these types of definitive punishments out there, man, you like, if I'm running from a cartel who's threatening to kill my family because
Right.
I want to deliver their product, I'll take my chances in America before I just allow my family to just be, taken out.
I said the same thing. If I'm running for somebody that's threatening to kill me, I'd rather spend time in an American prison as opposed to going back to the cartel. I mean, yeah, if I'm really running for my life, yeah, your threat of jail is not going to deter me. It might encourage me.
Right. Even if I can get my kids over here and they take me up and, the kids get separated and they go through the legal, at least they'll be here for years before they have to, be determined whether they're going to send them back. So it's
I don't think that's going to apply anymore, though. That whole you can be here for years while they're determining whether you stay or not. I think under the Trump, they're going to speed that shit up.
Right. We can, that'll just be something. It'll be a question behind it. But it's not going to be that easy to just say, we don't care. We just going to start sending back. Because all of that stuff has to go through a legal process, too.
Yeah, but when he has Congress, Senate, and the Supreme Court behind him, can you depend on that legal process to rule against them?
With the majority so slim in the House and the Senate, it's gonna be hard for him to be changing the Constitution just because of his his deportation positions. Like,
right. You know what I think, and I agree.
a lot of stuff. Say what?
I said, you know what I think? I agree with you that his slim majority in the House, particularly, and even in the Senate, but I think his slim majority in the House might cause him to get some pushback. But I think in Trump's case, the slogan, it's easier to get forgiveness than permission, really applies. So, in other words, if I like he wanted to ban all Muslims his last term, and the Supreme Court shot that down. So instead of wanting a Muslim ban and trying to get Congress with your slim majority to legalize it, I would take the quote of Nike: just do it, because if they challenge you, it has to be decided ultimately by the Supreme Court, which is going to be far more favorable to you than your Congress. So I would say instead of trying to make it a law, just pass an executive action and do it, because the Supreme Court is likely to withhold it or uphold it.
That's true, but I don't know. We'll have to see, because I think we're giving him a lot more credit as far as the power he has, because like we're saying right now, a lot of these states are saying, no, we're not going to just cooperate with you just because you say so, because what they're doing is embedded in law. It's ingrained in law. So yeah, we keep saying he's got all of this and he's got all of that, but look, when you start telling people out there on the ground level, I need you to go start taking them kids and putting them on buses and planes and stuff, it's going to be more difficult than people think. Like, they're just going to do it because Trump said do it.
No, but I think it'll be like a Pete Hegseth deal where you just found some military guy you liked and gave him this high position. If he wants people to go and round up immigrants, he might just deputize some American citizens that he know will do it.
I would have to really look deeper into the laws to find out if you could deputize people.
But you do know, while you're looking into the laws, you know who ultimately determines whether he broke the law or not. It's the courts. That's why I keep saying it's easier to obtain forgiveness
Right,
than
but
permission.
that means that stuff is going to have to go through the court system. And like you've been saying, he only got 4 years.
Yeah.
And we've seen when you talk about federal laws and it going all the way up through the appellate process, from the state level to the appellate process, up to the Supreme Court, and then they don't like to really get involved in stuff. It's
This
gonna take a
Supreme
while.
Court, I don't agree with you on. They don't like to really get involved. When it comes to Trump with that whole immunity thing, they have shown you they like to get involved if it'll defend Trump.
But they also have to work on trying to maintain some sort of, some sort of like a standard behind what they're doing. I understand what you're saying. They're going to agree with him eventually, but they can't just come out all willy-nilly and just be voting for everything he say. That's not going to go over well
Sure
for the
can.
Supreme Court.
Sure can. Do you think that Supreme Court cares how their
Yeah.
legacy is viewed? I mean, they've already done a bunch. Even if they don't do anything else controversial, their legacy is already fucked. I mean, we know Clarence Thomas's wife was on the phone with Trump's family during the election. I mean, they've already destroyed their legacy. They don't care.
That's very true. That's very true. But eventually, they could be responsible if the next Democratic administration gets in there and puts them on term limits and changes everything because they don't went too far. That will be.
I mean, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that, but I really don't think they care about that, Denkel. I really don't. I think that
Right, but with them not caring, they could mess around and put themselves in a situation where the Democrats come and pack the courts and they lose all power.
I think they've already done enough. I think they've already done enough controversial, biased shit to justify the Democrats doing everything you just said. They've already done it. They've already crossed the line. You got guys with the House flags upside down. You got Clarence Thomas's wife working with the Trump campaign directly. They've already done all of that. So you're saying that they're fearful of crossing the line, and I believe they're already a few hundred miles past already.
Yeah, but the Democrats are not. They're not in a position to do anything right now.
No, but the Democrats have
They
shown
haven't been, and they.
the Democrats have shown that if they're given an opportunity, they won't necessarily, they go low, we go high. The Democrats don't always want to do that stuff.
Yeah, but I think now all of those naysayers or those people who have been against it are now moving out of the way. The people like Manchin and Sinema, those were the two mainstays that stopped them from getting rid of the filibuster, which would have did it. Those people are both now out of the picture. And if we
But you've gotten rid of Sinema, you've gotten rid of Manchin, but shit, you got Fetterman in Pennsylvania. To me, he looks like another one in. he looks just like another one coming up.
He does, and I don't know if he's playing to the center to try to maintain some type of ability to negotiate with the other side. I don't know what he's doing exactly, but if this government becomes too radical, man, it'll be hard for somebody to come out and say, no, we should just keep going with the status quo. It'll be really hard, but we'll have to kind of see. But I know, they will be involved in a lot of these decisions that Trump is trying to make because it won't be carried out at these lower levels without some type of judicial enforcement or somebody saying, yes, this, you guys have got to do this, because there's going to be a lot of pushback on the ground level, because just because it's a red state doesn't mean that there aren't liberals or people inside those governments that say, no, my police department will not become another arm of
but the problem is in the red states, you're going to have far more red judges. So even if you are the ACLU or something like that where you want to sue, if you're in Alabama, for instance, first of all, it might not even be safe for you to be suing people if you're trying to defend and allow illegal immigrants to stay in the state of Alabama or just defend their rights that may be violating. You start putting up lawsuits in favor of protecting the rights of immigrants in a state like Alabama or Mississippi somewhere. First of all, your life may not be safe at that point. But also, once you get into courts, most of the judges in those areas are going to be leaning right. So I could see it certainly happening in half of the states in this country.
Yeah, but you're still talking. You're still talking about a upper level of government or the police. I'm talking about. I'm talking about a police captain in a station that has now been given the order to start rounding people up.
Right.
And me as the captain, I can show that. Look, with the people I've got, I can't. I need to concentrate on these local neighborhoods and stuff. I can't afford to now send all my guys out on a mission because that's a federal job. It's in the Constitution.
I get your point, but what I think Trump is going to do is hire more federal individuals that's responsible for doing that. So if you're a liberal, if you're a police chief or a sheriff that leans left, and you come up with reasons why you can't go around and rounding people up, then the Trump administration would say, well, don't worry about it. You go ahead and go about doing your business as a police officer. I got some federal agents I'm going to send to your town to do it for you. And you don't have any ability to stop them. That's what he's talking about doing.
I don't. It's not about them stopping them. I'm just saying, with the people that's on the ground right now, is going to be a problem. If he were to hire these people, that has to go through. That has to be adjudicated. Through. It has to go through Congress. It has to be authorized. The money for the people. Like,
you really think Congress would wait? You really think Congress, after without the so-called mandate that President Trump received, you think Congress would deny giving him money to hire more federal agents when illegal immigration was one of the main reasons he was elected?
Okay, well, when do you think that'll happen?
Very fucking quick. If Trump gets up there and says this needs to happen.
How soon is quick? They only have a certain, he can't just come out and be like, I need y'all to pass me a bill on hiring more police. It's not that simple.
No, it's not that simple, but it can be made pretty close to being that simple. Keep in mind, Trump has I won't say the backing of the Republican Congress, but they know their jobs depend on whether they please him or not to some degree. If he say, I need you guys to take up a vote as soon as possible on this, it's probably going to happen.
As soon as possible.
Yeah.
It has to happen within their schedule or whatever. It may happen, but I just don't see it happening like the way people think.
I think you underestimating Trump. I mean, all the stuff you don't see at this point. The guy beat 91 indictments. You really still betting against Trump?
That has nothing to do.
I know it doesn't. What I'm saying is, this guy
having achievements in Congress. That includes some of that stuff. It includes the ability. He has to bypass a filibuster and stuff like that. Stuff is not just going to waltz through Congress just like.
I hear what you're saying, but I actually think you're underestimating Trump. I think you're using traditional governmental policy, and you're expecting that to be a big hurdle against Trump. I'm telling you, don't bet against Trump on this stuff. Okay. Don't bet against him.
I'll give you this as an example. We just went through one of those situations, and almost 40 Republicans.
He ain't in there yet. You're right.
Why would it matter if he's given the call? Why would they have to wait for him to get in? They should be trying to please him right now.
All right, I give you that he didn't get the bill he wanted.
Elon Musk already said, if you vote against anything we trying to do, I'm gonna put up the money. And what they're doing is they're overstepping their bounds.
That should be a fucking crime. That a member of the Trump administration is threatening to use money to. I mean, Elon Musk is pretty much making it clear, I'm here to buy elections. I mean, to come out and say something like that. If you don't vote my way, I'm gonna pay for people to primary you. Like, damn, how much? That is as close to corruption as you can get. But
a non-elected person, who's not even from this country, is now telling us from this country what our policy should be on immigrants, and he is an immigrant. What our policy should be on fiscal matters, and he's the richest man in the world. Like, it baffles me. And I wanted to respond to what that gentleman was saying earlier. Trump was salty about Elon Musk. When he got up there and spoke, because we all know Trump. Trump doesn't just speak on stuff all willy-nilly. He had heard, just like everybody else had heard, that they've been calling him President Musk. He got up there to make it known. And although he
I've
made
done
a
it
joke
too.
out of it,
I've done it
although he
too.
made a joke out of it, he was pissed off about that shit. That somebody else was getting credit, and he talking about he couldn't be the president because he's not from this country. We all know Trump and his sense of humor.
He has a big ego. He has a big ego. I don't deny he has a big ego. I didn't take it that way, but I understand what you and my last caller is saying. But I do believe that that whole President Musk stuff, if it hasn't pissed him off, like you're saying it has already, but I do believe eventually, if Elon Musk keeps overstepping his power, him and Trump are going to have a falling out. I do believe that. Such as talking about buying up. I think if he keeps talking about doing that shit without getting the approval of Trump first, yeah, I think they're going to have a falling out.
And he put Trump's name on that request to try to get rid of the mandate that car companies report deaths from that robo-taxi stuff. So, like, normally any car manufacturer, if they have a problem with any particular part or anything in the car, they have a responsibility to report. Just like we had a recalls on the cars and stuff. They normally initiate that themselves because that's a federal mandate. Elon just tried to get them to remove that mandate to report on any deaths or injuries that are caused
because it would benefit his companies.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
you know exactly where that came from, and it wasn't Trump.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is something I did a live on, when I asked the question, with Elon Musk officially giving Trump apparently about $450 million he put into the Trump campaign. I asked that question. Do you think he simply did that to make America great again, or do you think he wanted something who would give that much money to one candidate without wanting something in return? Stuff like what you're talking about, whether it's his SpaceX company or whether it's, laws that make it easier for his electric vehicles to slide through without all kinds of liability lawsuits. He certainly wants stuff for his money, and I think he's going to get it. I really do think he's going to get a lot.
Look, he literally doubled his value, his worth since the election. Doubled from 260 to 450 something now. If somebody thinks he didn't put that money up to achieve personal gain and wealth, they lying to themselves.
I think everybody knows it. I've said before that if George Soros or Mark Zuckerberg or somebody don't, put that much money behind Kamala or Obama or Biden, the right would clearly see that as corrupt. But because they're favorable to Elon, they're kind of turning a blind eye to it. But yeah, Elon is certainly going to want some huge demands for that money. Didn't Cal? We don't disagree on that at all. But Elon, I wish I could just hang around that dude for a few days. Let me spend a night. Let me hang out with you, man.
Hey, and one more thing people are not realizing about Elon, and the reason why he can't get security clearances is because he's came out himself and talked about all of the DRUGs that he's been on. He's been on a podcast, getting high. He can't because you can't be. If you're getting illegal substances for people, that means you can be blackmailed.
Wow.
That's why he can't get security clearances. So
did Hunter Biden have a security clearance?
No. He was never privy to any type of, there's certain areas in the White House you can be that don't require security clearances, and that's all he's never been sitting in on meetings and none of that stuff.
All right.
Not like Trump,
that makes sense.
Like Trump's kids were when they didn't have security clearances. He wasn't doing that stuff.
Like I said, don't count Trump out though. Elon is likely to get any security clearance he wants. Leave it up to Trump. I think you're underestimating Trump. I gotta go though, Dencal.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And moving on with the program. Like I said, I'm not here to constantly criticize or to kiss anybody's ass, but I call it as I see it. I think at this point, a lot of the way many folks that lean left have viewed Trump, I'm like, at this point, you can't count the guy. By the way, Big Dog, yeah, appreciate that mustache. Fancy Prancy, thank you for the sub. Thank you, folks that are subbing to the program on this sub-only live. I wanted to address some of my MAGA on the before I go back to the box. Musk will make laws that everyone drive electric. That would be so fucking ironic. Trump talking about lithium batteries, the range of electric cars. I mean, he said so many insulting things, so much in criticism of electric vehicles when Biden and the liberals were trying to make them become the next greatest thing in regards to climate change and all of that. Elon Musk suddenly comes along, the world's largest producer of e-vehicles, and suddenly Trump's whole stance on EVs has gone silent. Don't ever let anyone tell you that Trump is wealthy and he can't be bought off. Elon Musk has silenced that guy. Elon Musk, that whole e-vehicle stance, clear example. Trump was making fun of e-vehicles at damn near every rally. He ain't saying shit about them now. That don't make sense. Elon will not do that, guaranteed. Y'all wilding. You don't know that. There's nothing guaranteed at this point. There's just nothing. I don't see that. Malcolm X, Jake, how about you hand me your what the hell, Malcolm X? How about you hand me your wife? Looking at the comments, Vance could run too, though. He seems like a pretty smart dude. We will see. Pence ended up being crap. Mike Pence didn't end up being crap, Aaron Faust. If you go back to January 5th, Mike Pence was fine among the Republican Party. So was Liz Cheney. So was Adam Kinzinger. January 6th is what turned a lot of people into crap because they didn't favor what Trump had the protesters do on that day. If you go back to January 5th, the Republican Party was going to reelect Liz Cheney. Adam Kinzinger was going to get reelected. And Mike Pence, Trump was on stage saying that Mike Pence was favorable, but I hope he does the right thing. I mean, so he was making it clear that, as long as he do what I want, which is to not certify the election, he'll remain in good standing with me. He was making that clear. So Mike Pence didn't turn out to be crap. It turned out to be a quote unquote, what have you done for me lately clash. In other words, I like you until you finally do something I don't like, and then I hate you all of a sudden. Everything you've done up until that point is meaningless. Mike Pence has been all over the damn country singing the praises of Trump. Trump has been dragging him on stage at rallies and all of that shit. He was perfect until he refused to take Trump's advice on not certifying the election or his request, and now all of a sudden he's a bad guy. That's the only thing that changed. Alan, good evening or welcome to the program. He comes across as a socially awkward and a hypocrite. Used to call Trump Hitler. Oh, you talking about J.D. Vance? Yeah, J.D. Vance used to call Trump a Hitler and a fascist. In fact, people made a song out of it. I'm a never Trump guy. So yeah, J.D. Vance has said some pretty awful things about President Trump. Alan, good evening.
Hey, Tim.
Hey, what's up?
A late Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, appreciate it. It was decent. Same to you.
I thought about something that you had said a little while ago. You said, "Hey, Trump only has 4 years. Can he really do all the things on his agenda?"
Right.
And as per usual, you say something, I gotta go digging.
What have I did?
No, you didn't do nothing bad, Tim. I went and I looked. For him to get rid of the Department of Education, unless Congress would have to give him a, what do they call it, a presidential reorganization authority. The last person to get it was Ronald Reagan. And it's only been granted to 9 presidents on 16 occasions.
Wow.
So him saying that, first he'd have to get Congress to approve it. But the usual steps to disband, you got to have a legislative initiative, committee review, markup and voting, congressional approval before he can even act.
Well, he does have concepts of all that.
He may have some, but here's the thing, and I started looking at this. They have to take into account the impact on employees, the continuing of operations, and then here's the one where I think he gets held up and he can't get it done. The legal challenges.
Yeah. Let me just interrupt you and say this. I don't disagree that Trump has made some promises that'll never be delivered. I mean, just like in his first term, he left saying promises made, promises kept, even though he didn't build a wall, drain the swamp, or repeal and replace Obamacare. But folks felt, well, he did enough of what he was saying, and they were happy with that. I think it'll be like that this time where, I don't foresee him getting rid of the Department of Education, or as he said, every in regards to deregulation, he said for every 3-letter organization I create, I'm going to get rid of 10. That ain't gonna happen.
That's not gonna
That
happen.
ain't gonna. That ain't gonna. You ain't gonna do it. You're not even gonna do that one time. That's not gonna happen.
Right.
So
But here it's the. I'm gonna tell you what it's causing. It's causing a lot of anxiety and stress amongst our community in
yeah,
particular.
because we're going to be the ones
Because
that pay for it with no schools.
exactly, and they painted this narrative to white America that somehow or another going to school is the devil. Oh yeah,
Well, the
these are
LGBT stuff and CRT and DEI,
exactly
they have done
right.
that.
So
Yeah.
so they're painting it to their kid. Now here's what they never seem to realize: every single one of 45's kids went to college.
Okay.
Every single one of those broadcasters on Fox News, Max, and ONN, all their kids go to college.
Right.
So why is it so bad for you, the viewer, to send your kid to college to get an education so he doesn't have to go work in the factory?
Well, they believe that college puts folks in a ridiculous amount of debt, and I can
It
attest
didn't
to
do it
that
to their
myself.
kids.
But
It didn't do it to their kids.
well, a lot of their kids had a one up. I mean, it's a big difference between Trump's family or Sean Hannity's kids as opposed to somebody living in West Virginia. I mean, they support Trump, but they don't have all of the silver spoon
But
type
Tim,
shit when they come out.
but Tim, but Tim, here's the thing. If you stress it now, because now I can say this: my son is on primarily scholarship because he has a talent. He can sing,
Hmm.
so he sings in the UNT choir. So if your kid has a talent, have your kid put his head down and get in them damn books.
I don't disagree with that, but you're not going to have. I mean, the colleges have to make money, so it is what it is. Most Americans' kids are not going to go to school on scholarships.
GI Bill. Tim, do you know how much money is floating? I'm gonna say this just for our community. So the people on here, if you got kids or grandkids, there's over $1 billion of unclaimed scholarship money that is geared toward African American students
Oh shit!
and geared toward and there's over $1 billion that's out there for just poor
Are
communities.
you saying that black people have a privilege that whites don't have access to?
No,
Is that black
I'm saying
privilege?
that no, I'm saying Coca-Cola will have a scholarship for a kid who has a 3.2, wants to major in business. His dad is in prison and he's left-handed. There's scholarships for everything.
Yeah.
Everything, Tim.
I don't. I mean, but the thing about it is the parents are not always educated to know about that. Hold on.
Exactly.
Hold on a second. Timothy Lee says, Tim, you in debt because you refuse to pay you in debt. Okay, you in debt because I didn't say I refuse to pay my college debt. Some folks actually have more. Like I have 3 college degrees. My current
Go
employment,
ahead.
huh?
Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Tim.
I have 3 college. I have
Talk.
3 college degrees. I paid one of them off, but my BA and my master's degree, my current employment don't pay me enough to pay. I mean, I pay on it, but shit, I won't pay it off. I mean, just if I do what I'm supposed to do, I'll probably damn near die still owing money. So it ain't got shit to do with me being in debt because I won't pay it off. It's probably a bit more than what I earned. A lot of these colleges told folks they were going to earn a hell of a lot more than they actually did upon graduation. Just like anything, Trump University is a perfect damn example of that, where they lied and told the people if you were 10, you're going to have this, pot of gold at the end of the fucking rainbow. When the people graduated, it wasn't there. So that's why
Here's the
people
other
are
side
in
of that.
debt.
But here's the other side of that argument, Tim. The other side of that argument is, why aren't you looking at and going to a school that you can afford? Because you can go to schools that
Because they tell you that you will be able to afford it upon graduation.
No. I don't give a damn about what you can afford upon graduation. I'm talking about what can you. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. In Oklahoma City, if you graduate from an Oklahoma City high school, you can go to Oklahoma Community College, get your first 2 years done for free. Now you're gonna have to stay at home because they don't have dorms.
Right.
But do you know how many community colleges around here have that?
Yeah.
I can tell you this right now. Fayetteville State University in North Carolina, UNC Pembroke, there's several schools around here that we have the Hope Scholarship. It costs $500 a semester for tuition. I can tell you at Fayetteville State, if you want to go to summer school is free. And I'm
But see,
talking about
that goes
quality
back to what I was.
education.
That goes back to what I was just saying. A lot of parents don't have the education to know that stuff. Like I had to go. I'm a 17, 18-year old looking for colleges on my own. My parents weren't telling me anything about it. wasn't even
Correct.
promoting college. So I made these decisions at 18 on my own. I knew I wanted a degree. I knew I
And
wanted a
that's
college degree. My parents weren't even focused on whether I brought home good grades or not. So the fact that I went to college alone is probably above what people normally do. Now I got to be responsible for making sure that the numbers work right.
now, Tim, don't get me wrong. That's part of the problem with the whole educational system in this country is that you don't have parental involvement.
Yeah.
If you have parental involvement, because, and I'll tell you this, a lot of these parents complaining about the school system now. I'm like, shut the hell up. You want to know why? Because your kid's stuff is online. You talking about, well, I work 2, 3 jobs. You know what? On your lunch break, look and see if your kid did the goddamn assignment. If your kid did the goddamn assignment, it'll be in there. It'll be a score. If it's not turned in, you should damn well know.
Yeah.
They
Well,
literally
I will
say
say this though too, because this is one of the things I talk about in regards to capitalism. If a person is not very educated, there should be some type of limit on how much you can rip them off. That's what happens is oftentimes is that in our society, which is like I said, heavily capitalism based, if you are savvy enough and able to find people who do not know how to defend themselves or do not know the rules, and I'm talking about everything from payday loans on down. There's all kinds of scams that we have in our society that are designed to prey upon the lesser educated. That is where you need someone to step in and prevent that.
Now, Tim, I'm gonna say this because some of the people say in trade schools. When I was in school, I went to my last 2 years of high school. I went to a school where 2.5 days we did all our academic work. It was self-paced, and you could be done as quickly as you needed to be, or as slow as you need to be. In the other 2.5 days, we had distributive education, which is business class. We had automotive, building maintenance, plumbing, stuff like that. So we had trades and academics. It can be done, but the
Yeah.
problem is you don't have enough people involved. You can learn your trade. That's fine, but you know what? The DOE pays for people to go to trade school too.
You know the answer to this, which I know the lobbyists and the politicians would probably prevent it from happening. But just one class in your senior year with somebody talking about the shit we're discussing right now. For the graduating, or maybe even in the junior year when you start looking, or sophomore year, you name it. But one
Actually, I'm gonna tell you
class,
when it needs to start, Tim. I'm gonna tell you, having coach. Okay, so I used to coach college track and field, Division 1, and I can tell you exactly when you need to start. 8th grade years when you need to start prepping your kids to take the ACT, SAT, whichever exam you're.
yeah. But you're talking about something different. Yeah, I agree with that. But
No,
you're
no, no,
talking
no,
about the
no, no, no,
test.
no, no. I'm talking about that's when you start talking about it. That's when you start
Okay,
talking to the
all right.
parents. So what you do is you say, parents, here's what they're going to need to go to the type of schools. These are the schools that may, because a kid may say, hey, I want to own a business. There are schools that teach entrepreneurship, and so you start saying, okay, these are the schools in the state that have entrepreneurship. These are the classes you need to take in high school to set you up to be able to do
Yeah, but
that.
that's a
This
different
is how you.
discussion. That's different from what we talking about. And I agree
No,
with
no,
all
no,
of
no, no.
that, but that's a different
It all
discussion.
plays in. It all plays in because you got to educate the parents on how to get the kid there
Yeah,
and
yeah.
how the money works. Because what the parents don't know is that, hey, you know what? When Pell money runs out, if I don't file for this stuff early, it won't be there. The free money. I'm talking about the free money, Tim.
But
The
that's why
free
I
money.
said later on in the child's education, when they're getting close to that actually happening, when you start talking about
Right.
Pell money and all this stuff, if you teach that to a kid in 8th grade, even if the parents are there, by the time that kid goes to
You
school
keep
four
having the
years
same.
from now, they're not going to be
You keep
remembering
having the
that.
conversation. You got to keep having that same conversation,
But
Tim. It's not.
then you're talking about lots of classes, and I mean, I don't know if the schools are going to fork over the money necessary to do that.
Well, I look at it like this: the great divide between a lot of people and the way that the poor and disadvantaged get out of being poor and disadvantaged, and people can look this up. It's through education. It ain't if you don't have a parent who can just hand you millions of dollars, like we won't call his name.
He started with $1 million loan from his dad, and look where he's at now. He's a multi-billionaire. So you're giving Trump
Right,
credit. I
and
get it. I
and
get
he
it.
went and he went to a damn good business school. But
Yeah.
you have to start, and you got to say, hey, look, the thing that's going to change your trajectory because they can't take your education away from you.
True.
That's something they can
True.
never take from you. And if you learn how to build your better mousetrap and you happen to lose it, guess what? You know how to build it. You have the
Yeah.
knowledge, you have the education, you can build it again. And so that's what I'm saying is when you brought this up, I had to stop and think. He's not gonna have if the trend continues, he'll lose the midterms. And that's gonna kill that.
Let's focus. I get your issue on the Department of Education, but if he does successfully bring back $2 gas and have the largest deportation in history,
he's not even gonna get close. You know why he's never gonna get close to that? Because number one, he's already told everybody he's not gonna get close to that. He's already set up his excuses. He's already set his excuses.
Well, if they buy it,
they're not okay. Now I'll admit, I didn't think America was as uneducated and uninformed and could be as misled as it was in this previous election. America exceeded my expectations.
You sure it ain't that Biden fucked up so bad they just wanted to get rid of him?
No. Now,
I'm telling you.
Now, we talked about this, Tim. We know everybody votes their household. But there are a lot of people who, oh man, it's so bad. Man, Tim, do you know how many Amazon trucks are pulling up in everybody's damn neighborhood?
They pull up in my house. They pulling up in my house damn near daily. So yeah, Americans are spending.
I ain't seen nobody on this live or any other live that didn't have a cell phone in hand and at least paying $50 a month for that deadgum service. And if you got a cell phone and Wi-Fi, I guarantee you everybody's got at least got Netflix, which is $20 a month. So Tim, I ain't trying to hear this we a third world country BS that these people are sitting up here trying to paint it out to be. Every one of them comes on here, oh, the economy's so bad. Well, is your Netflix on? Shut the hell up.
It worked. I got to move it on, Alan, but it worked. The propaganda worked.
Oh, what is it? The greatest trick that the devil ever pulled off?
Everybody keeps comparing Trump to the devil. Why is that?
I mean, hell, Tim, if it looked like a duck, it sounded like a duck, it walked like a duck.
The devil?
Tim?
Oh my God.
They trying to claim him as Jesus Christ. Hell, why can't I call him what I see him as?
Damn. All right, Alan. That's cruel. Appreciate it. Real quick in the cup. Damn, the devil. Will G enters the chat with Trump ain't shit. I have to say that every time. I always enjoy the super chat. Thank you for the support. If it's a super chat, I got to read it out. That's what he says. Trump ain't shit. Incoming toddler in chief. You think Trump will act like a toddler in the White House? Ooh. Well, some people do say that. Some people do say, I mean, toddler or not, I definitely agree he has a major ego that is easily triggered. Trump is easily triggered. Let's just say, we talk about liberal snowflakes, for instance. If you ask someone on the right, give me the definition of what you mean as a liberal snowflake. Give me the definition of a snowflake. That's Trump. Trump is a snowflake. I mean, he certainly is a snowflake from that standpoint. But, I mean, he's not held to that same level of accountability. But Trump has very, very thin skin. I got viewers on here now suggesting that Trump, is pushing back because people are saying President Elon Musk. I didn't take it that way, but some folks are saying that people calling Elon the president is triggering Trump. We'll see as time goes on. Will says it's clear that you won't give Biden any credit for anything, but will give Trump credit for simply clapping his hands. But I know you are MAGA cupping. Will, I do give Biden credit for things. I mean, he hasn't done anything recently because he, for the most part, once Biden handed over the reins to Kamala Harris, he pretty much stepped into the shadows. He really hasn't done much. You want something to give Biden credit for? He's pretty much abolished the death penalty at a federal level. I would give him credit for that. I know a lot of folks, Trump has promised to quickly reinstate the death penalty. I'm a huge opponent against the death penalty. Not that I don't think some folks have committed crimes that are worthy of maybe executing them. But I'm a huge opponent of the death penalty for one simple fact. It's not handed out fairly. if you got money, I don't care what you do. If you got money, you're not gonna be executed. It's as simple as that. O.J. Simpson, for instance, if he didn't have money, he would have probably been on death row in California. But because he had money, he's roaming. He lived his days in freedom. And being a person of color is not good when it comes to having a judge where the death penalty is on the table. So he didn't save but 30 some odd people. Most people who are on death row is at the state level. But in my opinion, that's a good thing. I don't, if we're going to be pro-life in this society, damn it, be pro-life. I mean, what's the difference between a mom saying that I'm not ready to have a child, so she wants to take the life of the kid, as opposed to the state saying, well, we think you've been a bad boy, so we can take the life. If you're pro-life, you believe that life was created by God and God should make the decision. But if you're in favor of the death penalty, now you're like, well, there's some times where I think my right should supersede God's. Either you're pro-life or you're not. That's the way I look at it. Either you are pro-life or you're not. The minute you start executing people, I don't see you as pro-life. You're pro-choice. You just picking and choosing when a crime allows you to do it. You don't like the reasons a mother is using, but you agree with the reasons you or your government is using. You're not pro-life. That's just my opinion. Looking in the comments real quick, and thank you, Alan says facts. Damn, Tim, I'm proud of you for that. Thank you. I'm just simply saying, when you look at the people on death row, three things. There are three things that make you far more likely to be put on death row. Number one is poverty. Number one by far is poverty. Just about everybody on death row was poor, probably had a public defender or something. Number one is poverty. Number two is being a man. If you are male, it is much more. You think females don't kill people? Yet everyone on the federal death row system, I believe they're all men. So being a man makes it far more likely that you're going to. In fact, being a man in a criminal justice system is a detriment, period, across the board. I don't care if you're robbing liquor stores, you're beating people, you're sexually assaulting people, whatever the case may be. Doing it as a man puts you at a disadvantage. If you're a female, the punishment, the way they deal with it is going to be less. So being a man is a huge detriment in the criminal justice. And then, of course, last but not least, being a minority or a person of color. It's just the way you're viewed. You're more aggressive. You're going to have less sympathy because the judge doesn't necessarily identify. The judge may look at another person that is white. This guy could be my uncle or he could be my next door neighbor. And the sentencing may be different, as opposed to if you're looking like somebody he has no association with. So being a person of color is also in there. But certainly being a man and being impoverished, if you're gonna execute people for their crimes, you should be handed out equally. Rich people shouldn't be able to escape. Females shouldn't get a lesser penalty for taking a life. And people of color shouldn't get treated different than anybody else. We don't do that. So based on those reasons alone, I'm not a fan of taking, of capital punishment. It's not fair. It's not handed out fairly in this country. Anyway, looking in the comments, a man, a father, and a husband. Black folks don't do either anymore. What? Now, Scott, I'm gonna read your comment again. Based on what I've read so far, maybe I misinterpreted it, but it did. I did hear a hint, maybe a smidgen of racism in that. But let me reread it to make sure I got it right. You said a man, a father, and a husband. Black folks don't do either anymore. So you don't know any blacks that are acting like men. You don't know any blacks that are married and maintaining the role of a husband. And you don't know any blacks that are fathers. Yeah, I reread it, and yeah, it does sound racist as hell. All right, let me continue on with the show. If you want to know the integrity of a man, look at his kids. Trump's kids are amazing. Biden's son is crap. That's actually not totally true because Trump has said some pretty shitty things about his own daughter, her weight, and then, of course, the whole thing about... Now, somebody told me that Trump actually had a actually referred to his child who was only 1 year of age. Talked about the child had the mom's legs, and I don't know about the chest yet. I've never heard that, but I am dying to hear if that is true. I've never heard. Would he say that about a 1 year kid?
It's the lost Donald Trump video that has people talking. Trump and then-wife Marla Maples appeared on the TV show Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous back in 1994. Host Robin Leach asked about their daughter Tiffany, who was then just a year old.
Now, Donald, what does Tiffany have of yours and what does Tiffany have of Marla's?
Well, I think that she's got a lot of Marla. She's a really beautiful baby, and she's got Marla's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet, but time will tell.
Daily Show host Trevor Noah.
Okay.
The long.
All right, he did. That's the first time I've ever seen that. I have never seen that before. Not only did he say, I don't know if she had him, he actually put his hands like he was cupping a pair of titties. His own 1 year. So when you talk about, you really want to talk about how Biden viewed his son with that shit floating around out there? Maybe you haven't seen that yet. You know, we talk about Biden sniffing children's hair. You want to talk about that with that shit floating around? I mean, is that not inappropriate? Now, here's, you know when Trump says something, people say you're taking that out of context and they rush to defend him. Ruth Ray says he was being funny. You're talking about the titties of a 1 year. Did that really make you bust up and crack up laughing? You got a grown man sexualizing his own kid. Talking about first of all, have you seen the legs of a 1 year? I think we've all seen the legs of a 1 year. It looks like a damn pork chop. How could you look at your current wife? Okay, that's Marla Maples sitting there beside him. You see she has looks like a sexy pair of legs. You can see that on a 1 year already? I mean, it literally makes it look like he looked at his kids and said, is my daughter going to be fuckable? That's what it really looks like. And that's in addition to the other video floating around of him out there telling his daughter, if she was older, if she wasn't my daughter, I would be dating her. It literally sounds like he looks at his female kids and thinks, are they fuckable or not? Look, if you want to suggest, Ruth Ray in the comments said he was being funny. If you want to suggest that this stuff is humorous, I don't see it. It really sounds like the contemplation of incest almost. Like I said, I'm trying not to bash the guy, but man, you giving him a lot of credit for something that sounds really shady as fuck. How could you look at a 1 year and question how their titties gonna turn out? I mean, like, damn. Let me see if I can go back to I don't know, just the way that right there. Look at that on the screen. When you put your hands up to your chest like you cupping a pair of breasts while describing your own shorty at one. Come on now. We can talk about Biden all damn day, and I often criticize Biden, but that don't mean you overlook this shit. I don't care how bad of a president you think Biden was or how much Kamala Harris sucked as a candidate. That don't excuse this. This shit is shady as fuck. I mean, he's literally describing his 1 year as whether they fuckable or not. Will G says, no matter what you think about Biden, he was actually active as POTUS, fixing what Trump destroyed with his incompetence and actually signing laws. Yeah, but there's a counter or pushback to that. You're saying that Biden was actively he was actually active as president, fixing what Trump destroyed. Well, some would say his border policies were doing the opposite. Some would say his border policies were actually destroying what Trump tried to fix. So it really depends on how you view it. Because when Obama left, when Trump left, the complaints about the border were nowhere near as bad as they are now. Now, I understand that some of that is Trump and his propaganda, but the American people, I always say perception is reality. The American people believe that under Biden, the border's been jacked up. Dennis Calhoun says Hunter is an Ivy League lawyer, and other son was a combat veteran. Yeah, his late son is a combat veteran. That's in regards to suggesting that Biden's sons are fucked up. Well, Biden's son, because he turned into a drug addict, the fact that he's an Ivy League lawyer isn't going to matter much to people. I mean, because his life, I mean, he turned into a drug addict, so to speak. Let me continue on with the program. I don't always defend him. He says a lot of stupid things, says Travelman. Fancy Pressy. Let me go back to the box. Continuing on. Speaking of which, Travelman, one of my subscribers. Good evening, Travelman. How you act Christian and support racism? Say, well, hold on a second, Travelman. I don't know what you're referring to. Maybe me or somebody in the comments. Arch back clapper. You said, how do you act Christian and support racism? Like an American. I mean, I hate to say it, but Americans, this country was founded on Christianity and racism simultaneously. So when you ask the question of how do you act Christian and support racism, then you're acting like an American. Those are the two primary things that this country was founded on. Travelman, good evening.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah,
Right
I mean, you're acting like an American. Christianity and racism are the American way.
It's the truth. It's like I always say, they were quoting scripture the same time they was beating the slaves.
Yeah. Most slave owners went to church every Sunday. Most slave owners went to church every Sunday.
It's in the country's DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much that. What was you guys discussing? I just kind of came in on the.
I'm always in the trenches, but I asked the question, will Trump, because Trump is talking about requiring all levels of law enforcement, all the way on down to the beat cop. If you encounter an undocumented or an illegal alien, the law will require you hand them over to the federal government, to immigration and customs, to ICE. So any level of law enforcement, if you know this person is undocumented, which would also include sanctuary cities. But I'm asking this question: if you are an undocumented resident or you're an illegal alien, and somebody robs you or threatens to harm you or even sexually assaults you, would this make it likely that they won't call 911 for help because they know the cops are going to come and arrest them too? In other words, has Trump's stance on illegal immigration made illegal immigrants become the perfect victim now? Because an American criminal knows they may not want to reach out for help.
It makes them go further back into the background.
Yeah.
They're not going to call if they know that they're going to get arrested. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it has something that has to be passed, a law or something stating that the police have to do that.
Yeah. He would have to. Yeah, he would have to pass a law, but I think that with him being in control of Congress and the Senate, and most Americans wanting the border to be secure, I don't know. He may get this one by.
But when that be part of the 60 vote requirement, because you can't do that through reconciliation because it's not financial.
Well, if you're talking about somebody that is here and they are illegal, do you need 60 votes to force them, to demand police hand them over? I mean, don't the police have to cooperate with the federal government to some degree anyway? I mean,
but don't they have to pass legislation to do that? And if you're not using reconciliation within the Senate, won't the Democrats be able to filibuster it?
And this is what Denkel was asking me earlier. I think that, like I told him, it's easier to get forgiveness as opposed to permission. I would say Trump does it as an executive action and then leave it up to them to take him to court because he knows the Supreme Court is a sanctuary city for him. So as opposed to, if you don't think you got the votes in Congress, just do it as an executive action and let them take you to court, because at the end of the day, a lot of the courts are on your side.
Yeah, but then the governors of particular states can say, that's just an executive order. Screw you. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, but a lot of states are going to be in favor of it. So you would certainly...
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. You got some that will and some that won't.
Probably half of the states in the country would do it.
But back to what you were saying, it will cause the illegal people to go further into the background. That's what it'll do.
Well, I think Trump getting elected is going to cause him to go further into the background on its face. I mean, Trump has made it clear he does not like illegal immigrants.
Yeah, that too.
That's already happened.
And as this starts to happen, what's going to be the impact on the economy?
Well, they're suggesting that fruits won't get picked, and certain jobs won't get done. It'll make the cost of things go up. But
But that's a reality. That's not a suggestion. That's happening right now.
well, but
They had that problem down in Florida when they passed the. When Florida earlier this year when Florida passed the law, and you had the Hispanic truck.
I heard it happened in Alabama. Yeah, I heard that happened in Alabama too. But here's the issue though. Trump's side has already said what cost. What is the cost of safety? Where if I'm talking about these folks are here, like they're creating Lincoln rallies for us. They're here to rape and murder everybody, or they're vermin, or they're poisoning. Okay, so you got to pay a little bit more for fruit. What cost do you put on safety?
That's a bunch of BS.
But people are buying that. But people are buying that.
Yeah, that's a bunch of BS, bro.
But people are buying that though.
Yeah, they buying it because it hasn't happened yet. They buying it because it hasn't. Once there is a shortage, because the vegetables and whatever are dying they're still on the ground, or the fruits are still in the trees, and when they go up, it's not going to be 15 cents, 20 cents. It's going to be 75 cents, $1, $1.50. Okay.
Yeah, but if you believe that people are no longer being raped and murdered anymore, would you be okay paying an extra 50 cents?
Well, they're still being raped and murdered. They just been done by U.S. citizens.
Well,
that's who's doing it now.
Yeah, but they believe
that's who's doing it now.
But they believe that the immigrants are far more violent and dangerous to Americans than maybe you and I think.
If people believe that, then they are disregarding, like they're disregarding everything else that's said, because it's not fitting their narrative. Well, it has been constantly said for the last, I don't know how many years, that the native-born people commit more crimes.
I get all of that, but I'm telling you, I'm telling you that a large portion of the country don't see it that way, whether it's true or not. I see Fancy Prince in the comments that says she even agrees. I think that we'll just have to figure it out. In other words, look, things go up in price. We just got to figure it out. We need to get rid of these people. A lot of folks.
It's all based on a lie.
Maybe so, but
maybe it's based on a lie. Statistics says that immigrants in this country, illegal and legal, commit less crimes than native-born Americans. That's a fact. That's not maybe.
Yeah, but what about the fact that what about the fact that every single one of them committed a crime by coming in the country illegally?
That's different.
Is it a like what Fancy said? I mean, what part of crime don't you understand? I mean, that's a crime, though.
Yeah, it's a crime. That's not what they're talking about, though. They're talking about violent criminals. They're talking about violent criminal acts against American citizens.
Yeah.
Now, crossing the border, yes, that's a crime. But you haven't went up there and slapped somebody side the head, robbed somebody, or did anything like that. You came across the border.
Yeah.
Okay? That's a crime. That's true.
But then even if they don't slap somebody upside the head, they're over here taking black jobs.
Come on, Tim.
I'm just telling you what I'm hearing. I'm just repeating it.
Let me tell you something. Okay. I think I told you this before. But, all right, so I'm retired, and I drive Uber in D.C.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Man, I got a video I've been meaning to make about a Lyft driver. Man, this guy actually took out a damn cable and tried to strangle the driver, slit his throat. I used to that's where I started on YouTube, was making Uber and Lyft videos when I used to drive myself, about how dangerous that shit is, man.
So I've been driving since 2019.
Man, God bless you, man. That's some dangerous shit.
I got over 26,000 rides. I've only put 2 people out of my car. I don't have any problems.
Do you carry anything at all?
I carry my fist.
All right.
Okay. And I drive, and I go into Southeast DC, so I don't have a problem.
Okay.
But then again, I was born and raised in East St. Louis.
All right.
Okay. But so I drive around DC, and you know what? There is some truth to that, because I see it in the mornings, man. When I see all these people coming in, all the construction workers coming in, I'm telling you, 75, 80, 85% of the people that I see coming into those jobs or Latino, Hispanic, whatever you want to call it.
And they otherwise would be black.
Huh?
And otherwise they would normally be black people.
Well, who was doing the job before they came?
Yeah. Black
jobs.
jobs.
Because ever since black folks been in this country, there's always been this narrative where black folks they lazy, black folks don't want to do this, black folks don't want to be on time, black folks this, black folks that. But meanwhile, they was out there in the fields. Yeah. Meanwhile, they was sharecropping. Meanwhile, they were building the country. Okay, and who you think was cleaning the hotel rooms? Who you think was doing the landscaping? Okay, who was doing all this work before we had this big influx? It was black folks.
Yeah, I always tell folks when they say, black people are lazy or whatever and they don't want to work, I'm like, after 400 years without a break, they're just on lunch break right now. Leave them alone. I mean, they worked 400 years without getting paid any damn thing. They just on lunch break. Give them a little time.
Well, and it's a bunch of BS. But right now, you got people coming in and they are doing jobs that not only black folks don't want to do, but Americans do not want to do.
I don't buy that.
Hold on. Let me say this though.
Go ahead.
Let me say this. Okay. Go down to the Tyson chicken processing plant. All right, and see how many people. I bet if they raided every Tyson chicken plant in this country, it would be a shortage of chicken wings.
Damn. That many of them there.
There's that many of them there.
Damn.
Not only that, you go to Smithfield. You go into these places.
But let me say this. This is one of the things I used to, and this is for you, Will, because Will always said I don't ever criticize Trump. This is one of the things I often used to say. Trump and the right makes it sound like these immigrants are just coming in this country doing all that shit by themselves. You don't ever hear them talking about going after Americans like you're talking about Tyson Foods that are hiring them. Probably because if you go up the ladder and look at the CEOs, plural, that have ran Tyson Foods, the last 4 or 5 of them, I bet you they big donors to political campaigns. So that they can hire these people. And yeah, you can come in here and raid a plant or two, but because you're not gonna take us out of business, we'll just hire some more. If we really wanted to disincentivize illegal immigration, we would go after the Americans that give them an incentive to come. You very rarely hear of large places like Tyson Foods, and they have had some of their places raided, but you very rarely hear of places like that getting raided. And and the Trump campaign don't say shit about that. Where are all of the Americans you're punishing for bringing these people in here and hiring them? They're not all coming for free health care and food stamps. They got jobs. So what about going after the American that gave them the damn job? You don't hear Trump saying shit about that.
And it's very easy. There's E-Verify. E-Verify is voluntary.
Yep.
Make it mandatory. And then, if we raid your plant, every illegal that we find in there, we're going to fine you $1,000 per head.
Should be more. It's got to be more than that. They saving enough money that a $1,000 fine. If I can hire somebody illegally,
just make the fine big enough where it hurts them. Okay.
I would say that as opposed to that, as a condition of hiring somebody illegally, you lose your business license for a year. I mean, start talking about jail. Start putting some real punishments on it.
Yeah, and like I said, if they made E-Verify mandatory instead of it being voluntary.
Yeah.
It's voluntary right now.
Because some of the same folks that are bitching about going at the illegal immigrants are making a huge amount of money in campaign donations from the people that are hiring illegal immigrants. So that's the reason why they're not going after them.
Exactly. So, I'm telling you right, everybody make this big thing out, Trump gonna come in, Trump gonna close the border. No, he's not gonna close the border. You can't close the border. Okay, now it might be a matter of semantics, but you cannot close the border. You can make it more difficult for people coming across, but you cannot close the border. Because if you close the border, that's money.
I don't think Trump needs to close the border to get an A+ grade. If he starts deporting criminal immigrants out of this country, there's got to be. I mean, I don't know how many millions of them are here. Trump gives these insane numbers. I take Trump's numbers with a grain of salt, but I know there's probably at least 10 million here. Let's say, for instance, 0.01%. Let's say 100,000 of them are criminals. 100,000 out of all of the millions that are here, at least 100,000 of them have committed violent crimes. If you can deport 50, 60,000 of them, and you can put that on TV and show that, people will give Trump an A+ grade. I mean, even though he's not putting a dent in the real number, the perception will be he's getting rid of a lot of illegals.
If they put them on and say that they're getting rid of criminals,
Yeah.
then people gonna say okay. But what's gonna happen when you run out of that?
You only got 4 years. You're not going to run out of it. Like, this is what I always say. Let's say and I said 1, but let's say even if it's 10, let's say Trump creates a website, to show you the Department of Global Efficiency or Government Efficiency, him and Elon and Vivek Ramaswamy, that site. We're going to show you how effective our government, how efficient our government is. So on the Doge website, every day we're going to premiere 5 or 6 immigrants that were here illegally, and we've kicked them out and they got a violent history. Even if let's say if he puts 10 on TV every day or 10 on the website every day, what is 10 times 306? That's 3,650 criminals per year you would see. And over his huh?
That's a sad ass number.
How many did you see from Biden? How many did you see from Biden?
If you only Biden has deported more people than Trump did.
You don't, but under Biden, more has came in too.
That is true.
Right.
That is true. But also now you gotta remember, like I said before, illegal immigration also increased under Trump.
I'm gonna tell you, when you say that's a sad number, if he shows you 3,600, or if he's showing you 10 a day, 10 violent people per day, and he put in a rap sheet, this person is a killer or this person violated a child, thank God we got rid of him. I don't think anybody's gonna view that as sad. They would view that as Trump as being really effective. You got 10 guys, you got the whole rap sheet on there. Every single day he's showing you 10 people, and they're describing how much of a danger these people could have been to society. Yeah, it's only 3,600, but people gonna think if he's showing you 3,600, it's probably hundreds of thousands they're getting rid of. I think he would be extremely effective at that.
It would be effective with MAGA.
Look how effective showing you Lincoln Rally. That's one person showing you Lincoln Rally every damn day. Look how effective that's been at suggesting that these people are killers. Just one person getting killed. And people think it's hundreds of thousands.
It's been multiple people. And this is something.
It ain't been 3,600.
They are repeating, because this is what Republicans do. They repeat the same thing over and over and over and over.
It works.
To get some people's heads.
It works.
You're right. And if you show 10 people per day, I would look at that and say, okay, you showing me 10 people out of you say it's 1 million here.
But you don't expect him to put 1 million people on the damn web. If he said, I'm going to show you 10 people today, I'm going to give you 10 of the worst, but you can best be sure there's more. You don't expect him to show you everybody, do you?
I expect him to put the numbers up.
He can lie about the numbers.
Oh, well, yeah, I expect to put the numbers up.
If he put up 10 people,
put the numbers up so it can be verified.
You ain't gonna be able to verify.
Who's a liar?
How you gonna verify it? The Trump administration controls the people that would give you the numbers. If you want to verify if his numbers are accurate, you're gonna call the FBI. Well, he is in control of the FBI, so they're gonna verify whatever he says.
So what you're saying is that they're gonna put up whatever numbers they want to put up.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
But what you're saying is what we're looking at is probably not correct.
Just told you with a grain of salt.
So when DHS put their numbers up, they're wrong.
I just told you that's how the system works. If he puts up 10 immigrants per day.
So basically what you're saying is anything that we're seeing on the DHS website cannot be believed.
And I'm saying that applies even if Biden's in office or Trump. None of them are going to.
I'm not saying who. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Whatever they put up there, that basically the government is lying based on the information that they put up.
But what I'm saying is a lot of people are going to buy that, though.
All right.
You get what I'm saying? A lot of people are going to believe that. If he's putting 3,600 bad hombres up every year, 10 per day, and he's telling you, you can rest assured for every 10 I'm showing you, there's another 1,000 or another 2,000 behind, but we don't want to waste time filling up the website. We're too busy out arresting more of these people. People are going to buy that because under Biden, they saw zero.
So just believe me that when I tell you that we putting that's what we're doing.
That's how it works.
All right.
All right. I'm moving on. Travel.
I gotta think about that one because I'm not. It's kind of like
It'll work every day under the sun. Only the true Trump haters will refuse to accept. It'll work every day under the sun because you were not seeing 3,600 coming from Biden. Biden was making it sound like all of these folks are just good people that want to work. Trump
would. Hold on a minute. He ain't say that now. Hold on a minute. They've been arresting people. They've been deporting people.
Okay. Well,
okay. Okay, they've been deporting.
What did I say about perception? The perception is reality. The perception is that.
I agree with you on that.
Okay, and the perception in this country is that Biden ain't been deporting no damn body.
But that's a lie.
Perception is reality. That's all I'm saying. You're actually looking for the truth. We're talking about politics. You don't get the truth in this shit.
I'm looking to put out the right information.
We're talking politics. Travel man.
You know what I'm looking for? I'm looking for people to use to think. That's what I'm looking for.
Then I suggest you move to another country. Where they do that shit. We're talking about politics.
I'm looking for people to think, to use their heads. Don't go by what the government tell them. That's what I'm looking for.
You want too much. I gotta go. You want too much.
I'm gonna go do some research. I'll be back on that.
Good luck. All right, moving on with the program. Will says, you said it yourself, that the only way Trump can be effective on the border is if he break laws. I still think Trump is in cahoots with the cartels. I do believe that. I think America's always been in cahoots with the cartels, Will. I don't think that's anything new. I mean, you think all of these drugs are coming into this country because the cartels are that savvy and they're just defeating the U.S. No, there's American officials that turn their back on shipments every day. I think America's always been in cahoots with the cartels. I don't think that's anything new. Just like when we went in Afghanistan, we were in cahoots with some of the folks that were producing heroin. If you can produce that shit and we can use the money for an American cause, we'll turn the other way or work with you to make that happen. I definitely believe it. I mean, and like I said, that ain't nothing that's new under Trump. That's always happened. But at the end of the day, I do believe that Iran Contra. I see that Trevor and also the whole thing with Oliver North and all that back in the 80s. But I will say that the only way I do believe Trump could truly, and this is what Will you pointed out, the only way I believe that Trump could actually truly do what he promised, not parade 3,600 immigrants on a website to make you imaginary think it's a lot more people, but to actually successfully do it and it actually be a lot more people, as Will pointed out, I think he would have to break the law to do that. And I think he would be okay with doing that, but there are going to be challenges for that. But that's why I also believe Trump will be the most effective president from a deportation standpoint, is because I feel confident he is willing to break the law to kick people out. He'll challenge the law to its furthest ability. If he can break the law, okay, well, they catch me, and maybe the judge rules against what I'm doing, but keep doing it until they do. Because by the time they do, we've gotten rid of millions of people. I mean, you see what happened when Texas Governor Greg Abbott put those devices in the water and people were drowning trying to get these wheels and shit where it's designed that if you try to swim over it, it knocks you under it and there's barbed wire hidden under the fence and shit I mean, these things were designed to secure the border, and if you try to defeat the device, it would potentially kill you in the process, drown you in the process. They knew what they were designing. Under Trump, you'd have no problem with him giving access to putting those things up. I think Trump wants to secure the border and humanity be damned. I want to do whatever you got to do to secure the border. If, I don't care what it is. Wasn't there rumors that he talked about everything from literally giving the federal authority the right to shoot people crossing the border, up to it including putting dangerous animals in the Rio Grande that would harm people? I mean, he just wants to secure the border. He doesn't care about whether it's humane or not. So I do believe he'll be very effective at securing the border because, like I said, he'll break the law to get it done. He's not here to do it the right way. He's just here to do it. Trump paying off those cartel caravans to make it look the way it is so he can talk about it, how bad it is Trump is an agent of chaos and confusion. Well, I do believe he will I do believe he will utilize anything to his advantage. I do believe Trump is a master at using things that help him out. I mean, good or bad. Because like I said, I mentioned, people always say well, Trump's a racist and all this stuff. And I've said before, I don't necessarily know if that's true. But I do believe that if he can get more votes by courting racists, he'll do it. If he can get more votes by courting with black people, he would do it. Now, in my opinion, and you folks are, I don't block, ban, or censor you. You're free to criticize me on what I'm about to say here, but I do believe that among the Republican Party and people who are likely to vote for Trump, the number of people who view black people unfavorably that are Republicans is larger than the number of black people who are Republican. In other words, among the Republican Party, there's more people who don't like blacks than there are of people who are black. I do believe that among the Republicans. So if you want Republican votes and you want to court to the party, you want to start courting with the group that is likely to give you the most votes, the group that do not like blacks is going to produce more votes than the blacks themselves. And like I said, I'm not saying Trump is racist. I believe he will court whoever helps him out. And if that group represents more votes than the black people themselves, then that's the group it is what it is. I'm looking for votes. I'm trying to win. That's how I see it. It's said that Obama was effective on the border and he called him deporter in chief. We all know Trump don't like that, so he wants to upstage that somehow. Could be true. But the thing about it is, even though Obama was very effective at securing the border and deporting people, the liberals don't really celebrate him for doing that because the liberals weren't necessarily favorable about breaking up families and shit like that. And the left was calling and the right rather was calling the Democrats under Obama still saying they were for open borders. So even though some people like Rush Limbaugh was calling Obama the deporter in chief, a lot of folks on the right were still saying the liberals are for open borders, which is why when Obama was actually securing the border, he didn't get a lot of credit for it from the right, because they were still trying to lie and say he was letting people in. It wasn't until Obama was gone and Trump was president and began taking criticism for separating families that Trump decided, well, now it's time to tell the truth about Obama. Because I don't want to get blamed for separating. Well, he was doing it too. Yeah, but when he was president, you weren't giving him any credit at all for securing the border. Now you're doing the same shit and it's not going very well. You suddenly want to bring up, well, he was doing it too. He actually was securing the border when we was lying about him. Anyhow, let me go back to the box. Yeah, how many black people are in this administration? A lot, Ton. I mean, you're asking me how many black people are in this administration. You want to compare the amount of blacks in the Trump administration versus the Biden administration? That's a conversation you don't even want to have. Whether it's appointments to judges and judicialships, whether it is, his spokesperson, what did Karine St. Pierre? You don't even want to have that conversation. I can't even believe you even asked me that. It's like night and day. But they always take I'll go to the box on this one, but there is always I don't want to say a family picture, but the entire administration will go on the steps of the White House and they take a photo of them. There's a photo of Trump's administration, 2016 and 2020. There's a photo of Obama's administration and Biden's. Look at those photos and withdraw your question. That's all I'll say. Just go look up the photos and you look at the diversity in the Obama and Trump administrations. And then you go look at the photo of, in the Obama and Biden administrations. And then you go look at the photo of the Trump administration, and you'll probably withdraw that question. There's only a few blacks in the Trump admin, says Travelman. Yeah, you got a crowd of, I don't know, 50, 100 people that's standing on the steps. It's noticeable at the lack of diversity in the Trump administration. I mean, it's like noticeable even from a distance, even though you can't see the clear, how clear the faces are. Even from a distance, it's noticeable, like ain't nothing dark in that photo. Whereas you look at Biden or you look at Obama and there's like, specks of darkness all over the damn. Like it's a big difference. Looking in the comments, JD Vance 2028, period. I vote on policies, not color, because most representatives of color sell us down the river and they get rich lining their pockets. Robert James, once again, I go back to the box real quickly, but I have to always reread things that when I sound like it may be a hint of racism in it. Robert James says JD Vance 2028. Nothing wrong with that if you favor JD Vance. He says JD Vance 2028, period. Says I vote on policies, not color, because most representatives of color sell us down. So if you vote on policies, not color, but then you follow it up by saying that people of color are money grubbers, then you're going to be voting based on color. But you literally contradicted your statement in the middle of the damn paragraph. I vote on policies, not color, because most representatives of color sell us down the river and they get rich lining their pockets. Well, if you believe that most representatives of color sell us down the river and they get rich lining their pockets, then that's going to disincentivize you to vote for people of color. You literally, you just made a blanket statement about people of color, but then said, I vote on, no, you vote on color. I think you kind of made that clear. Now, what's really interesting about your statement, suggesting that people of color sell us down the river and they get rich by lining their pockets, is all the billionaires that are in the Trump administration. And you don't think they're going to get richer while on the Trump administration, huh? You only think it's people of color that's lining their pocket, when all of the money is in the people that are not of color in this country. Gen X, yeah! Appreciate the hat and mustache. I think you got to look at that one a little bit. I think you need to look at that one a little bit closer. You're making it sound like all of the black politicians are corrupt and wealthy, and the white guys are doing it on the straight and narrow. Man, you looking at that one backwards. The border is all Trump has in the border is all Trump has in tax cuts for the rich. Captain Small Hands ain't shit. I'm gonna leave his hand size alone, but leave that between him and Marco Rubio. But you're saying all Trump has is tax cuts for the rich and the border. Well, the border is huge, by the way. Another thing he has that is larger than I think it should be is his stance on the transgender community. I don't think that should even be a fucking issue, but that's a big issue. That's a big issue among American voters. So he has that in his pocket because the liberals were becoming very allied with the transgender community. A lot of Americans don't want to be an ally with the transgender community. And they all tend to see Trump as better at getting that under control. I don't know how that issue became as big as it is, but he has more than the border in tax cuts for the rich. So I don't know. Did you know the RNC had a black caucus, but was off to the side like a kid's table at a party? I want to look that up. Trump didn't even bother to attend. So he said at the Republican National Convention, there was a group of black caucusers, or blacks were caucusing at the Republican National Convention. He said, but they were off to the side, off camera, like at a kid's table at a party. Damn, that's bad. Trump didn't even bother to attend. No, I did not know that. Damn, that's bad, though. People like you made it big, handsome. No, I didn't make that big. You telling me people like me made the transgender issue big? No, I think people that don't like the transgender community made it big. I'm not the one that put the bullets in Kid Rock's gun and made him shoot a beer can. That's him doing that. The hatred he has towards that community is what made it big. And by the way, that ain't got shit to do with kids or people in schools or playing for the wrong team. That's an adult beverage. Bud Light is an adult beverage with an adult transgender person on it. And the hatred for that was no different than playing for the wrong team or going in the wrong washroom. So when people tell you, no, I don't really have an issue with them, it's just I don't want them shoving it down the throats of kids. That Bud Light that whole Bud Light situation showed it's more than that. Because you're not protecting children from child drinkers of Bud Light from being exposed to the transgender community. They shouldn't be drinking Bud Light. So the fact that they didn't even like it when it was on a beer can shows it's a little bit more than just kids. Handsome, you talked ad nauseum on the subject for months. Yeah, the subject was around ad nauseum for months. I talk about what's in the news. Like right now, making it a felony out of shoplifting. Michael, good evening. Welcome to the program. Everything we normally cover here is what's going on in the news. Now, we'll talk about January 6th in the 2020 election quite often, but that's because Trump is talking about it all the time, too. He was just on Meet the Press the other day, and he brought up January 6th in the 2020. So we typically talk about what's in the news. Mike, good evening.
What's going on, Tim?
Not much, hanging around like Jesse Jackson at a Klan meeting as usual. So, I'm asking. This is one I didn't talk about as much, but I mentioned it earlier in the live stream. Biden promised to be a president of unity. Vote for me after Trump divided the country. Did he fail on that? Was he a failure at unifying the country as he promised?
Well, I don't think he failed in his efforts. I don't think his efforts failed to do it.
You think he tried to unify the country?
Oh yeah. I mean, everything he's done, he's tried to be president. He's tried to show a normal.
He called Trump supporters garbage only a couple months ago.
Tim, don't go there.
I gotta ask.
Is this where we're going tonight?
This is where
we're going tonight. Okay, all right. Okay, so let's go there. And basically, again, as a Trump supporter would say, you got to take it in context. He didn't come out and just say they were garbage. He did not say that.
You gonna try this bullshit on me? Really?
Well, I listen to you. You're taking it out of context, and
That's actually pretty good. That's actually some pretty good shit.
Yeah. He didn't mean it in the way they turned it into that. But again, you said earlier.
Okay, Ultra MAGA. He got the red background with the two Marines standing beside him. He's referring to them as Ultra MAGA. Was that a compliment?
Well, that's what they call themselves.
No, they were not calling themselves Ultra MAGA until he did that. They were just like garbage. Once he did that, Trump shows up in a garbage truck. They're taking lemons and making lemonade. They didn't call themselves Ultra MAGA, just like deplorables with Hillary Clinton. They're taking lemons and making lemonade out of it. They didn't call themselves Ultra MAGA until Biden did that.
Yeah, you know what? I don't even know about that. But let's get back to it. Back to it. So,
all right.
When he made his statement about calling them garbage, what was he referring to, Tim? What had happened?
The comedian at Madison Square Garden.
Right. He was talking about those comments that he made, and that shit was garbage, and that those people that think that's something where we need to be as a country is garbage.
Yeah. Well,
was that wrong? Well, here's the thing, and this is why I like to push back on you the more and more I get on here. So we can talk about that one incident, right?
Okay.
And
that's a huge incident when you refer to the whole party.
Well, but you're talking about trying to bring the country together.
And you think Biden done that?
I think he tried.
Give me an example.
I think that he tried to be presidential. I think every time something happened on the world stage, he got up there and tried to show how we were trying to be unified.
Okay.
When Trump was shot at, he got on TV and he addressed it exactly how we would expect a president to do. Yeah. Denouncing the violence, denouncing the racism. He did all that, trying to bring us together. We haven't been divided because of Obama or because of Biden. We've been divided because they've been trying to sow division. It's just as simple as that. Yeah. It's as simple than that. There's no way around it. But here's the thing. I'm going to give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about. When you brought up when you showed the video clip of Trump making that comment about his 1-year-old, right? Right?
Yeah. Listen, I can't believe that. I didn't believe that was true. I cannot believe that.
Well, I had seen it before. I've seen a lot of stuff about him before. You got people in your comments going, we're bringing up stuff from 30 years ago, and there's always an excuse. There's always an excuse.
Well, but you already know my pushback is going to be. It didn't matter how long the crime bill was or Willie Brown. He brought that up, so yeah.
There's a whole bunch of pushback. But here's the thing: we've also seen and heard that kind of behavior over the years. So if you go back to when his daughter was 1, when he said that, and you start chronologically looking at the things we've heard about him from that clip, about the 10-year-old on the escalator, about the comments he made about his own daughter, all the things he said, and then the Eugene Kevin, and then the on the bus and grabbing him by the feet, all of that. If it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
I do gotta say, when you string all that stuff together, it does make it a little bit more challenging to accept grab her by the his locker room talk. It does make it sound like this is just what you do. Because all the other comments are out there floating around you say taking them out of context. When you put it all into context, it all kind of sounds like the same stuff.
It is what it is. And then when you talk about, let me give you another example about was Biden trying to unify the country. What was his Christmas comments on social media this weekend?
I haven't seen. You said what was Biden's comments on social media?
Biden said Happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas. Did you see Trump's statements?
No. I saw them on Thanksgiving. They were horrible.
Oh well, you didn't. Oh well, you need to go.
He did it again on Christmas.
He did it again yesterday. He went on this whole tirade, telling the 37 people that Biden and look it up. 37 people that Biden told him he wasn't wishing them Merry Christmas and they can go to hell in all caps. This is.
Well, let me ask you before I look this up. Stevie D in the comments saying that Biden also referred to Trump's rallies as swastika events. You know, the N-word.
That's what they were doing. Listen.
I've been to some Trump rallies.
Okay. The rhetoric from schmazzies, make America great, the poisoning of the blood, all of those things were said by Schmidt.
Yeah.
Right or wrong?
Vermin and all of that. Yeah.
Look, Tim, if you don't want to be associated with something, you don't even dance around it. You don't even get close to it. If you don't want to be considered a child, right? Any of that stuff, are you even close to it?
I gotta agree to some degree that Trump is akin to walking into a bank with a ski mask on in the middle of summertime, talking about I was just cold. I mean, like, we thought you was here to rob them. I mean, he does come across as looking like something he claims not to be.
Well, what about the people around him? What about Steve Miller? What about Steve Bannon? What about Tom Holmes? What about Pete? All of these people have some white nationalist or supremacist ties somewhere. They all support him. He says the things, he repeats the things, but all of a sudden you want to say that he's not the things. What are we actually talking about here?
Well,
what are we actually talking about?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I do believe if trafficking in that stuff gets him more votes, he is willing to do that. Even if it's just like evangelicals. Trump is obviously not very Christian, but trafficking in Christianity gets him a lot of votes. He may not be racist either, but trafficking in that gets him votes.
And if you're willing to traffic in that to get votes, what does it say about your integrity and character when you're willing to say that stuff just for the bottom line for himself and his billionaires? But they want to call the Democrats, and the Democrats are supposed to be the ones that are the elitists, right? The Democrats are supposed to be those, but his entire cabinet, Elon, all the money. And I want you to look up his comments.
I got it in front of me. It's a pretty long one where it says, Merry Christmas. Here's it. I read it. Merry Christmas to all, including the wonderful soldiers of China who are lovingly but illegally operating the Panama Canal. Oh my God, he's starting off pretty quick, huh? Where we lost 38,000 people in its building 110 years ago. Bringing up old shit, huh? 110 years ago. Always making certain that the United States puts in billions of dollars in repair money, but will have absolutely nothing to say about anything. Also to Governor Justin Trudeau of Canada, damn, it's a laundry list of people, huh? Whose citizens' taxes are far too high, but if Canada was to become our 51st state, their taxes would be cut by more than 60%. What is it, campaigning in Canada now? Their businesses would immediately double in size, and they would be militarily protected like no other country anywhere in the world likewise. To the people of Greenland, which is needed by the United States for national security purposes, damn, and who want the U.S. to be there, and we will. There's a page 2, Merry Christmas to the radical left lunatics who are constantly trying to obstruct our court system and our elections, and are always going after the great citizens and patriots of the United States, which means a Democrat can't be a patriot. States, but in particular, their political opponent, me. They know that their only chance of survival is getting pardons from a man who has absolutely no idea what he is doing. Also, to the 37 most violent criminals who killed, raped, and plundered like virtually no one before them, but were just given incredibly a pardon by Sleepy Joe Biden, I refuse to wish a Merry Christmas to those lucky souls, but instead will say, go to hell. We had the greatest election in the history of our country. A bright light is now shining over the USA, and in 26 days, we will make America great again. Merry Christmas. Oh, my God. Damn. Damn.
So you read it.
Damn.
So that is who
we elected.
That is who.
That's who we elected.
That's who's been elected. But they will excuse that shit is deplorable. He cannot ever show us that he's just a president. But I thought his focus was taking care of America first.
I can tell you that, well, we could debate that. Maybe some people do think his focus, but he certainly ain't operating from a standpoint of unity. Maybe he thinks what he is talking about there. A lot of people think what he's talking about in this tweet is taking care of Americans first. We can debate that, but he clearly is not operating from a standpoint of unity. He clearly don't give a fuck about half of the country. I mean, that's as clear in that.
Period. In the discussion, and that's what we do. And even if fancy prancy in the comments, maybe we should take over Haiti too. That's why I've told you every time I've got on a live. These people are full of shit about what they say they want. What they really want is white supremacy. Period. It's full stop. Because what they say is one thing. Because everything he just talked about will cost us money. First of all, you're not going to just take over countries, are you? What are you going to do? What are you going to do with Greenland? What are you going to do? We're just going to just take over the Panama. We're going to do all these things in the name of what?
Well, in the name of making America great, that's what he's talking about. If he takes over Panama, if he takes over Greenland, it ain't about improving Greenland or Panama. It's about improving America.
But yeah, listen, that's under the guise of what? Making America great? Where does that slogan originate from? We know where it originates from. The KKK used to march with that too. Yeah. That was their slogan. Yeah. So again, Tim, if you want to stay away from something that is divisive at that level, it's easy to stay away from it. You have to run towards it. He's running towards these flames. He's not walking away from them. You have too many people around you that would try to keep you out of harm's way, but you're looking for it. You're looking.
Well, because it's translating into votes, though. It's translating into support.
Well, again, but here's the thing, and it's showing. Their hoods are showing.
I don't see Trump. I see Trump getting out of a vehicle and hugging black folks on the street and shit like that. I think that what Trump will do, if he goes to a city that is predominantly black, I don't see him having a problem speaking with black leaders. I think he will do what gets him votes. Now, if he goes to a city where the leadership is racist, he'll work with them too. I think that his whole goal, just like when he talked about the 2020 election being stolen or whatever, you notice that in every state, like I always bring up North Carolina, where Biden was winning North Carolina right up to the last days of the election, and Trump was claiming that there was fraud, widespread fraud in North Carolina. But Trump ultimately won North Carolina in 2020. And the minute he won, he didn't give a damn about the fraud anymore. I think Trump just wants to win. Even if it's winning ugly, even if it's winning criminally, as long as he wins, he's okay with it. Because the minute the state went in his favor, he suddenly didn't care about the fraud anymore.
And he's not going to care about any of this other shit anymore. Because see, he has to focus on paying these donors back, making sure he's giving them what he promised them. Because listen, if Elon Musk is so smart, with $454 million, what is his return on? Are you
doubting that Elon Musk is a smart person?
No, what I'm saying, if he's as smart as we say he is,
he's probably smart. Shit, he got all the money in the world. How much smarter do you need to be?
Okay, fine. I'm not arguing that.
Oh.
I'm saying if he's that smart, what is the expectation on what's his ROI on that $454 million, $1 billion?
I don't know, but he's probably gonna be, like many folks estimate, probably the first trillionaire by the time it's done. He's gonna get his money back in multiples.
And it's gonna and what is it gonna cost us as American citizens for him to get his investment back?
Maybe a little bit of your dignity. Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe a little of their dignity because they voted for this nonsense. But again, when you talk about Biden, and if you read Biden's Christmas tweet, that's the difference between the two. That's just the difference between the two.
Yeah, this is bad. I don't even know what Biden wrote, but I know it ain't nothing like this. Mars says, Biden can run again, but I don't think. I don't need to even read Biden's tweet to know it ain't gonna be like this. Biden would never.
Why? Why would he never do it, Tim?
He don't have the anger like this. It just doesn't.
He's not trying to be divisive like that. Yeah. He's just not trying to. That's not. You listen. We haven't seen this. We haven't seen this level of division ever. And I'm not even saying that there weren't people.
Ever.
I'm not even saying that there weren't people that felt that way. They didn't display it this way.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think even if you look in the history books, you do book reports and shit like. I don't think there has ever been somebody that has publicly stated divisive stuff to this level. Ever. I mean, even maybe doing segregation or something when you were saying nasty shit about people of color, but that wasn't at the presidential level. I don't think any president has ever said stuff like calling people lunatics and all this kind of stuff. I don't think that's ever happened.
And I wanted to address, I think it was Stevie D that made the comment about if you want to know the makeup of kids, look at the way they were raised or some shit like that. He said earlier. We're talking about Biden's kids.
Okay.
About Biden's kids versus Trump's kids.
Yeah.
Well, don't forget, Trump had parents too.
Yeah.
Trump had parents too. So he's the byproduct of his parents just as well.
But they like how Trump turned out, though. They think he turned out quite well.
Look where the bar is, right? We got man talking about what his 1-year-old looks like.
I can't believe that shit. I still can't believe that.
But Tim, that's who he's always been, Tim. And here's the thing.
That's pedo stuff. No, look, I know the guy's it's a sexual horn dog, but that's pedo when you starting to make that kind of reference to a 1-year-old.
100%. Well, who was he running with? How come the Epstein report hasn't been out, Tim? Listen, they can dance around it all they want. That was when his daughter was 1. This is 2024, and we're still having the same conversation.
You think Trump was actually participating in some of the Epstein stuff on the island?
100%. 100%. Matt Gaetz, listen, Tim, you're not around that many people like that. Matt Gaetz is asking in that report, did you read the report? If you're 35, 36 years old and you're a senator, why are you asking, are you old enough to drink? Why is that even a question?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, hey, Fancy, the one thing I don't want you to worry about, don't worry about my pockets. Don't worry about how much money. Matter of fact, want Tim, let her up.
I don't think if Fancy wants to come up, I'll bring her up. I got to move it on anyway, but I would let her holler at you if she wanted to, but she's not in there. I got to go, though.
All right, my brother.
Good talk. Thank you.
Hey, but you better stop doing that.
What am I doing now?
With this weird shit. If somebody comes up and puts back, look, you didn't see evidence with his 1-year-old. There's nothing else to talk about.
I hadn't seen that before. I had not seen that.
But now you have it.
Man, that's fucking gross.
There's no way somebody should come up on your panel and talk about anything, about anybody else's character when it has to do with kids or nothing.
Yeah. You got my vote. I'll agree with that. Appreciate it.
All right, man.
All right, moving on. And I got to agree with him. We talked about Biden sniffing hair and people alleged that he, went in his daughter's room or whatever. If he's on TV talking about a 1-year-old's titties, what is he doing in private? So, we can talk about the economy or anything favorable you might see of Trump. That ain't favorable for him to talk about his own 1-year-old wondering what her tits are going to turn out like. There's no way to make that sound good other than I like Trump so much I'm just going to give it a pass. That's somebody, well, he was telling a joke. That ain't funny. Who the hell would laugh at that? Will G says the border isn't big if you're talking about all Trump has to is pick off a few immigrants out of the millions. He exaggerated about so it looks good. Well, I don't know. I don't think it's big. I think that most of the issues, and this is where I took flack from the MAGA side of the aisle because they think I'm fucking crazy or I'm a lunatic liberal my damn self. I think that most of the things that Trump successfully became president on are exaggerated issues. I mean, obviously, the Haitian migrant issue, I believe, is completely non-existent about eating pets. And you notice that in regards to the Haitian migrants and eating pets and dogs, you notice how ain't nobody said nothing about that. If they're in town doing something that's that awful, why did it disappear so quickly? I mean, where are all of the pet owners? But I do believe that most of the things that propelled Trump to the presidency, the main issues, the transgender issue, I believe, is greatly exaggerated. The danger that illegal immigrants are, the danger that illegal immigrants pose to Americans. I'm talking about violent danger. I think that's greatly exaggerated. I really do think he won based on topics that are greatly exaggerated. I think most Americans are not really dealing with any of those issues. The economy is important, and a lot of folks perceive the economy as awful under Biden. So that one would be a legitimate one. Most Americans, when they've done polls, more Americans favorite Trump in getting the economy back on track than Biden. And even though the economists suggest that the economy is back on track now under Biden, a lot of voting Americans don't see that. So he won on the economy, and I think that's the only one that's the only one I see where it wasn't like ridiculously exaggerated. But the transgender issue, the illegal immigration issue, I mean, the Ukrainian-Russian war thing, I really believe the issues he won on. And I've been on the channel saying this stuff. MAGA's been, tearing me a new one for it. So for all you folks who say you're only defending Trump, I've been criticizing him on all of this shit. You see Fancy Presley in the comments even admitted that. I've been saying from day one that we don't have a bunch of illegal immigrants going around the country raping and murdering people. I've always thought that was an over-exaggeration. But people believe it's happening. And he won based on chanting it. Trump, the divider-in-chief, says, Will, I don't think it's even up for debate whether Trump divides people. I mean, you see his Thanksgiving message. And as bad as I thought that one was, I did a live on this. His Christmas message, in my opinion, is worse. I don't think it's even up for debate whether Trump is a unifier or a divider. So it kind of, out of the three topics I came with today, the first one was, do you believe that Biden failed at unifying the American people, and should he be faulted for it? Well, in my opinion, I guess that topic should be removed from the list because, okay, we got rid of Biden, we put Trump in there. And I think that whereas Biden may have failed at unifying the country, Trump is intentionally trying to divide it. I mean, with Trump, the goal is division. So it's certainly, I don't even think it's worthy of even mentioning Biden's failures at unifying the country at all at this point, because his successor is deliberately trying to divide the country. Trump will talk to black people like he did at the convention of black journalists. That didn't go well, but this is one you're not gonna like. But I did give Trump credit for going to that convention of the black journalists. And I still think he deserves credit for that because he walked into a hostile environment. Trump already knew going into something like that. That would be like Biden going to a town hall in rural Alabama. You already know this is hostile territory. I got to give Trump credit. Okay, we don't like what he said there. He talked about giving police immunity, and he didn't want to acknowledge he didn't want to come out and acknowledge this. The cops have been treating some black people criminally. He didn't even want to acknowledge that shit. But he still showed up. And I think that is what gave Trump a slight edge over Biden, is that Trump was willing to show up any and everywhere. And I don't think he really changed his tune that much. Remember when Hillary Clinton was on the Breakfast Club and she pulls hot sauce out of her purse and people were like, you don't do no shit like that. Or Nancy Pelosi dancing in African garb and people were like, you don't do no shit like that. Trump will go into a black environment and talk about black criminals. So he does seem to stick to the script. And some people like that. Will says, and you won't give Harris credit either, despite only having 100. I've said that a million times, Will. You said I don't give Kamala Harris credit despite the fact that she only had 100, a little bit over, I think 107 days. She had 107 days to campaign running on center-right policies, not talking about race, wokeness, and 75 million votes her first time. Well, I will say I don't give Kamala Harris as much credit for the 75 million votes because I don't think those votes were pro-Kamala Harris votes. I think there's at least 40 million hate Trump votes in this country. Period. Doesn't matter if a dog ran against Trump. It was going to get at least 40 million votes. So I think Kamala Harris, more of her votes were hate Trump votes than it were pro-Kamala Harris votes. She obviously didn't have a love and adoration of Obama. Wasn't even remotely close. She didn't have a love and adoration of even black people. So, and even the women's vote, Trump won the man's vote. I think I was looking at the numbers the other day, like plus 40-something%. Kamala Harris won the woman's vote like plus 8%. So she won the woman's vote, but compared to how Trump won the man's vote, it's not even remotely in the same universe. So I think there's more anti-Trump votes that went to Kamala than there were pro-Kamala votes that went to Kamala. But I don't disagree that only having 107 days to run is a huge disadvantage. I made a whole video about it. I said why she didn't win. Number one being, I don't think she was a good candidate. Getting up there on The View and saying I wouldn't change anything from President Biden. That makes no sense when you know his favorable numbers are in the tank. You should be trying to distance yourself from him. So I don't think she was a great candidate. But also, the other two issues I said is her being a woman and a person of color didn't help her. Person of color didn't hurt her as much. Being a woman really hurt her. There's a lot of Americans that do not believe a woman should be president. So in addition to her not being the best candidate, her being a female did not help her out at all. And then the third issue I said is her being on the wrong end of double standards hurt her. Meaning that the Democrat Party would hold her accountable for things she may have said that some of the party didn't like, but the Republican Party wasn't going to hold Trump accountable no matter what the hell he said. I think if Kamala Harris sent out a message like Trump just did here on Christmas or the one he sent on Thanksgiving, if Kamala Harris sent that out, there would be a whole lot of Democrats chastising her for that. This is horrible. This is just like when Biden called MAGA garbage. A whole lot of Democrats chastised him for that, which is why Kamala Harris had to immediately distance herself from that comment. If Trump called the Democrats garbage, MAGA would say, yeah, he's right. So she was on the wrong end of double standards, where she's being held accountable for things and Trump is not going to get held accountable for anything. Put those three things together and she couldn't win. Looking in the comments, I vote for the candidate, not their race or what is between their legs. Maybe that's you, Warren, but a lot of people vote based on race, and they certainly vote based on gender. I had one of my MAGA viewers tell me only a weak-ass man would vote for a woman to lead his country. Told me flat out. A lot of people, even among the Hispanic community, a lot of people believe, the hierarchy, God, man, woman, child. A lot of people believe a woman should not have that position. Her being a woman didn't help her. All right, let me go back to the box. What does that say? Spuds McKenzie for president. Well, I do believe Spuds McKenzie would have got about 40 million votes. There's something. I mean, you had Bill Maher say he said I would vote for Biden over Trump even if they had his head in a jar of blue liquid. Mark Cuban stated that he wouldn't vote for Trump if Biden was on his deathbed being given last rites. There were a lot of people like that. I have viewers tell me I wouldn't vote for Trump even if gas went up to $10 a gallon. I would still vote for Biden. 40 million would go to. I think Kamala Harris got less of her own votes. Gen X, fuck around and find out. Good evening, Gen X. He would have gotten mine, says Mike. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Gen X, good evening.
What's up, my brother from another mother? How was your Christmas?
It was good. It was good. I ate good. Watched a few games. You know how I go.
Did you eat like a king?
I ate like a pig. A king, not so much, but I ate good.
Man, I spent all day Christmas Eve prepping. We had eggplant parmesan and lasagna and chicken cutlet parm and a nice glazed ham. It was wonderful. I'm still stuffed.
That definitely sounds like some white people shit. I'm sure it was good.
Some Italian shit, huh?
Hey, gotta do what you gotta do. So what brings you on? What am I getting wrong tonight?
You normally don't get too much wrong, man.
Really?
I'm the first MAGA up here, huh?
Yeah, you are tonight. And I've been, I love enjoying, speaking of my MAGA. Tonight I haven't had many, but I got it on subscriber only, so it's a small audience tonight. Because I wanted to address MAGA on YouTube.
Yeah, all I've been hearing, man, is these angry black men with the fucking echo chamber saying the same shit over and over. And fucking racist. It makes me fucking insanely batshit crazy, bro.
Give me some examples of what you heard.
I think that bad.
Give me some examples of what you've heard from some angry black men tonight. What are you talking about?
Michael calling out the only woman in chat. Bring her up here. Man, boy, sit your ass down.
He wanted. Wait. That's not racist, though. What's wrong with that? She was. That's Fancy Prince. She's a friend of the program. She's MAGA. She was chastising and countering. She was countering his comments. He wanted to talk to her. What's wrong with that, though? You for free speech, aren't you?
Oh yeah, bro. I'm just, I'm just giving you a hard time.
You made it sound like I had a whole bunch of angry black men on here that were being bigoted. I didn't hear any of that.
Well, I always say that just to get a rise out of your viewers, man.
You sound like Trump. You're just saying what it takes.
Hey, I thought his Christmas message, I was in tears reading that. I thought that was some funny shit.
Do you think it was funny to Democrats that he was talking about?
I don't know. To me, it was funny.
Do you care?
What's that?
Do you care that he's literally giving you a laugh at the expense of half of the country?
Not at all. I'm not that easily offended. I mean, Biden did the same. They all do the same thing.
No, Biden ain't sending out. Biden don't send out holiday messages like this. He don't pick Christmas and Thanksgiving to insult people.
Well, one of your topics was, do we think that Biden failed the country? And a lot of people, my constituents, would answer that yes.
You got constituents now?
I'm going to say he didn't fail the country. The country fails itself. You know what I mean? Division isn't the politics. We make our decisions. Like I'll speak for myself. I decide to support who I support. I don't give a fuck what Biden says, Donald Trump says. None of them say. When my mind's made up, that's what I'm going to roll with.
I mean, I get that. I get that, but you're okay with a president doing this kind of stuff, though? On Thanksgiving, on Christmas Day?
I think it's in bad taste. I think it's in very bad taste. There's 360, how many in it? 364 in a year? I forget, 365.
365, yeah.
353 other days a year to say it. I get that.
Yeah.
And I
so let me ask it to you this way. When you hear folks say they never gave him a chance from day one, let's say in 6 months people were saying even with his second term, they never gave him a chance from day one. Will messages like this make you understand why people disliked him the day he came around?
I'm not going to blame it on the message. They just don't like Trump.
You're calling. Wait, hold on. He is literally making it sound like if you're Democrat, you cannot even be patriotic to the nation. You know how many Democrats served in the military? You don't see his messaging making people hate him at all.
I don't know if that was the message,
because he never came out and said that. But I will say this: Democrats can be as patriotic as Republicans. That's some, but not all. The far left, they're communists.
Oh my God.
Communists.
You can't even say that shit with a straight face. You're breaking it up in. What do you mean they're communists?
They're fucking commies, man. They want to introduce all this weird shit, this tranny bullshit, and fucking gay marriage. It's shit I don't agree with. I don't agree with. I never will. Abortion, I'll never agree with.
You do.
Now this is going to blow your mind. I will say that I agree with Biden commuting those death sentences, and for this reason and this reason only, I don't support the death penalty, because you can sit there and scream and cry and say you're pro-life. You support the death penalty, you ain't pro-life. Their punishment is in prison. Not only that, but the biggest reason I don't support the death penalty is because it's flawed. Innocent people have died. Until it's 100%, I can't support taking another human life. I think it's wrong.
That's exactly what I said earlier in the live stream. I said there are 3 issues that make it more likely for you to receive the death penalty. Number 1, poverty. Most of the people who were executed, they were poor. They had a public defender, could barely afford a lawyer. So the death penalty makes a big difference whether you got money or not. Number 2, being a man. Women rarely get sent to death row, if ever. So being a man, if you take a life, taking a life as a woman gives you an advantage as opposed to taking a life as a man. Yeah, it's murder, but doing it as a man increases the likelihood of you being executed. And then last but not least, being a minority is not your friend in that case either. So I agree with you 100%. It's not favorable. If you are poor, you're a man and you're a minority. Or if you're poor, a man and a white person, whatever the case may be. But if you have those qualities, the chances of you being sentenced to death are higher. Then
it's inconsistent at best. Now, if it was consistent and they got it right 100% of the time, yeah, I think there's some crimes that we shouldn't have to pay to house them.
Yeah. I would say
100%, but it's not, and it never will be. So I can't support that.
I would say maybe only in cases where the actual crime was caught on video, so to speak. There's nowadays with video, like for instance, even though I'm not necessarily hating on the guy Luigi Maggiano, but his crime was caught on video. So it's not like you have to worry about some witness that received a benefit from the government to testify. No, you see what he's doing. So if it's something that's caught on video, maybe.
Let me tell you something with Luigi. Luigi was with me that night. In no way an Italian did that, all right? Luigi was with us.
He practically has confessed at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. But
that's guilty of sin. Hey, the other thing I wanted to ask you, Kim, is I don't know if I heard this right. You mean to tell me that President Trump explained the whole thing with the police?
What do you mean?
With the immigrants having the police.
Yeah, he wants the police at all levels in our society. Whether you're talking about the beat cop right on up to the feds, any LEO, any law enforcement officer that knowingly encounters someone that is undocumented or illegal, to have the requirement to turn that person over to the federal authorities. Period.
Okay, so maybe I'm old, I'm getting senile, but so you're telling me the president expects law enforcement officers to enforce the law?
He didn't.
Oh my God!
No! Don't start it.
I'm not a Trump supporter no more.
Don't start that. Don't start that.
Outrageous.
Don't start that bullshit while you're defending Ashley Babbitt. I mean, he didn't want that cop to enforce the law, so don't start that bullshit.
Hey, it's too close to Christmas or after Christmas for me to tell you fuck you, and I'm not going to do it, all right? Because I love you like a brother from another mother.
Ashley Babbitt was justified. I'm just going to tell you that. She died of fentanyl.
I'm not going there.
She died of fentanyl. Hey, have you heard that, speaking of, this is something I wanted to tell you. I had meant to bring this to you for some strange reason, but apparently one of the Capitol policemen, I think he got sentenced because he was actually giving backdoor information to the leader of the Proud Boys. Have you heard about that?
That's news to me.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything about
Yeah.
that. I know this. Enrique wasn't even in Washington when the whole thing went down. He was in Florida, and he still got 22 years.
Well, I don't think Hitler was in Poland during the invasion. That don't mean he's not guilty for it. I mean,
I think that's bullshit, but a brilliant comeback.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, if you're running, just like they're trying to go after Trump, he wasn't in the Capitol building. I mean, if you are the leader of this group and they're acting on your behalf, you don't need to be there.
Yeah.
I mean,
let me finish my thought about the whole Trump law enforcement thing. I think Trump thinks like a chess game. He doesn't play checkers, he plays chess. Now, if you got 50 states, and you put word out to everybody that law enforcement is required to report illegal aliens, there's going to be a handful of states, at least 5 to 8 of them, that say, no way, we're not doing that.
Okay.
Well, if you've got warrants, you want to go to a place like Belize, and I don't know, you want to go to a country...
Non-extradition. Yeah.
Extradition.
Right.
So I think maybe, and this is just my opinion, what he might be thinking is that the places that enforce it will be less favorable, and you can round it up to about 5 to 8 states where everybody's going to kind of migrate to that don't support the law enforcement, taking them in and reporting them to the feds, and it'll reduce the manpower drastically to get the people you want.
Well,
just a thought.
I mean, the guy is savvy. Like I said, I tell people all the time, to some degree, I think that we don't want to underestimate Trump, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I just want unity, man. I hate to sound like Rodney King, but why can't we all just get along, man? But,
you know what he should do?
What?
He should deputize all the Proud Boys and let us do it.
As insane and as fucking awful as that sound, that's what I've been telling some folks who were suggesting that, well, if he wants to round up immigrants, local police ain't gonna do it and people might push back. I said he may deputize some Americans that are willing to do it. And once they get the federal authority behind them, they can go into cities and do it themselves. It wouldn't surprise me. Obviously not the Proud Boys, but it wouldn't surprise me. Well, and then the Proud Boys would say I'm not a member of the Proud Boys to get on the list. But it wouldn't surprise me if he tried to do something like that.
Like I said, they start off at $1,000 a head. I'll be driving a Ferrari within a month. Within a month, Tim.
I hope that doesn't. Here's what I want to play for you. I haven't heard this yet, but this is what I was just telling you about. This might be worthy of a listen.
A retired Metropolitan Police officer is found guilty by a Washington judge after being accused of tipping off a leader of Proud Boys and then lying about it. Shane Lehman now faces up to 45 years in prison for feeding Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio information that helped him plan the January 6th attack on the Capitol. The former lieutenant led the D.C. Police's intelligence unit. He pleaded not guilty to obstruction of justice and 3 counts of making false statements. During the 2-week bench trial, prosecutors said Lehman covered up his communication with Tarrio, deleting messages and using an encrypted app. Conversations that showed Lehman telling him there was a warrant for his arrest for burning a Black Lives Matter flag during a Trump rally in 2020. Prosecutors allege Lehman pledged his support of the Proud Boys, saying he didn't want their reputation to be dragged through the mud. On Monday, the federal judge handed down the verdict, saying Lehman acted as an informant for the Proud Boys group. When asked if the Proud Boys would be at the march protesting the 2020 presidential election, Tarrio lied to the former officer and said it would be extremely small, downplaying the group's central role. Lehman's defense said his conversations with Tarrio didn't breach police conduct, and it's how law enforcement gathers evidence from sources. His lawyers argued Lehman was key in the arrest of Tarrio. Tarrio is currently serving 22 years for helping to coordinate the attack on the Capitol. Tarrio also testified he lied about receiving information from Lehman to other members of Proud Boys. For Straight Arrow News, I'm Kara.
What do you think? You think Trump might pardon the leader of the Proud Boys?
That's what I say. You go, Enrique. We know sweet son of nobody.
Oh my God! I gotta go. Now you heard about this, so now you know.
Yeah, I'll look it up online right now. I really, how old is this report?
2 days.
Okay, that's why I haven't looked at it. Yeah, I'll look into that. I'll check that out.
We'll talk about it next time. Appreciate it.
All right, brother. You have a great night. As always, a pleasure talking to you, my friend.
Same. Good talk. Moving on. Liberal Tears Delicioso. Ed is indicating that you enjoy drinking. I would not want to have a mug that says Liberal Tears, but jeez. And Will is addressing Ed by saying MAGA has no moral high ground, talking about tears. Y'all still haven't mopped up 2020, and that is true. The left, the right rather, is still crying about 2020. And I'll tell you this, now that you got Trump as president again, I bet you won't have any solid evidence come out about the 2020 election. It's going to be something that just like now that he's president, I bet you'll never have any proof of Haitian migrants eating cats and dogs. He just say this stuff, people buy it, and it just moves on like it never happened. Like he said that Obama bugged his office. He said when Obama left the presidency, he left a wiretap in the White House. No proof, no demand of any evidence ever be shown. So he gets away with saying a hell of a lot of stuff, and people don't ever come up and say, can you prove any of this stuff? Like the Ted Cruz's father is responsible for the Kennedy assassination. Well, sir, you've been president for 4 years now. Why didn't you show us evidence of that? Nobody ever asked him that stuff. So, my guess is the 2020 election will be something he will always say was taken from him, but even though he's been president twice, you'll never see definitive proof of why he ever said that. Gen X doesn't like communism, but he likes forced pregnancies, banning books, and porn, except for the Bible, and wants cousins to marry. Damn, I should have had Gen X up here when you were saying that. I wish I had saw that. Man, you got a low opinion of Gen X. Damn, you said he likes, he just a whole lot. He likes forced pregnancies. That's the whole banning of abortion. Banning books, and the right does believe a whole lot of books should be taken away from kids. He's talking about Pornhub and accept the Bible. Jeez, and wants cousins to marry. I don't know about the cousins to marry part, Will. You crazy with that. Fed Rat, I'm not here to teach you. Try some research. Okay. Warren, I clap the soul. I don't know what you're saying there, Mr. Backshot Therapy. You don't like America, just leave bitches. Fed Rats in MAGA hats. That name is all Fed Rats in MAGA. But let me tackle this statement before I go on to the next caller. If it's one statement that I really despise, and I only seem to hear it from the right, if I heard it from the left, I would chastise it as well. I would criticize it. But I only hear it from the right. If you don't like America, just leave. I thought let me just say it this way, any Constitution-loving American should despise that statement. What happened to free speech? You have your First Amendment right to free speech as long as you don't say anything critical about America. You shouldn't, just because you criticize America should not require you to flee or leave your homeland. What part of the Constitution is that? You realize how much bad shit Trump has said about America? The military is dilapidated, whole cities are shitholes. Nobody ever told him to leave. Why? I only hear that on the right. Like I said, I would be very critical if I heard it on the left also. But the idea that anybody that criticizes America should leave, how about pointing out something and maybe voting or trying to have it fixed? Why should you have to leave? That almost is some kind of backdoor insinuation that America's perfect, or that America is above criticism, or that Americans don't have First Amendment free speech rights. I really think that's just awful. But I hear a lot of folks on the right saying that. If you don't like America, just leave. Real quick, continuing on. Like I said, I think that if you support the Constitution and free speech, you shouldn't like that. That's awful to me. And how much money do you have? Oh, I'm way back in the comments looking at one of Fancy Prince's comments. Complaining isn't the same as burning businesses, looting, etc., etc. Fancy Prince, you ever heard of the Boston Tea Party? That's kind of the American way. It only became a major issue when black folks started doing that shit. I mean, but looting and rioting, that's kind of the American way. You got Trump about to pardon a whole bunch of people that were looting and rioting. They stole the podium. They took shit out of Nancy Pelosi's office, smeared shit on the walls. How is that not rioting and looting? And they're about to get pardons. I don't know. All of a sudden, once black folks started doing it, it became unpopular. But you know, we could talk about the what do they call it? Black Wall Street in Tulsa. That was riots. There's been tons of rioting and looting in this country. So I don't know why all of a sudden it became an issue when black folks started doing it. It's the same shit I talk about DEI all the time. You know, you didn't do anything to earn that position. You only got it because you're a certain skin color. Once again, that only became an issue when it started going to black people. You already knew throughout history, the next judge, the next high school principal, the next military general, you knew that was going to be a white man. You didn't even need to know who it was. You can look at the general right now and say, you're 50 years old, you may serve for another 10 years. I already know your replacement is going to be a white dude. It wasn't based on actual accomplishments or based on any resume. You already knew the next person to get this job is going to be a white man. Once again, just like with this other issue, it only became a reason to complain about when it started favoring people of color. But most of America's history, white males were getting DEI gigs all over the place. Police chief, fire marshal, all of these jobs. Didn't matter how qualified anybody else was, you knew the next guy to get it was going to be a white man. Anyhow, looking in the comments before I move on, thank you, folks. By the way, tap the screen, folks. I haven't asked that at all tonight. And somehow we still got 26,000, so it must be a decent show. But tap the screen. Maybe we can get up to 40,000. Thank you for those who have been doing it. I haven't asked that much tonight. Continuing on with Furback. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Twitch Boy is half white. Who is Twitch Boy? A Democrat wrote an op-ed in The Hill today asking Democrats to try and block Trump's inauguration. How? How would they be able to do that? I mean, do they show up and protest like Trump? I mean, I suppose Kamala Harris could do it like what Trump was trying to get Mike Pence to do. Hang on a second, Furback. Everything is always okay up until black people start getting their keep. That's typical racist behavior. I can't argue with it. I mean, even college education and things like that, which used to be free, all of a sudden black people start getting a piece of the pie and we got to cut that out. Furback, good evening.
Good evening, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I guess I got to scratch one of the topics out after Trump's Christmas message, but we were also talking earlier about California has now made it a felony to shoplift. You think that's a way to disincentivize it, or you think that might be too harsh?
I get why they're doing it, but yeah, I think that might be just an entry to it being too harsh, in my humble opinion.
So what about the notion that folks, people are suggesting that they knew it was only a misdemeanor and it was giving them an incentive to keep stealing shit?
Well, I mean, those people were stealing TVs and shit like that.
I mean, if it's your business, you don't care. If it's your business, you don't care what the merchandise. I mean, they're stealing you out of business. I mean, there's a lot of towns where whether it's a Home Depot or whether it's a CVS, a lot of businesses have went out of business simply from shoplifting.
Agreed. So if that's the law, then I guess you reap the consequences. I mean, there's no more I can say about that. But I just find it a funny question in the sense that we got people that's running this country that breaks all kind of damn laws and robbed all kind of people, and I'll just lock up the poor people that just want to look at a clear TV.
And that's what it's going. That's exactly what it's going to be. Thank you, Gen X, for the sub. Appreciate that Gen X fuck around and find it. That's exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be a whole lot of poor people getting felonies. The wealthy folks are going to find some kind of way to get the prosecutor to reduce that charge, or to get the merchant to drop it as long as they return the merchandise plus or minus something. I'll buy a few, Costco memberships if something like that. They're going to find a way out of it.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And I mean that, but that's this two-tier system that that we've been talking about. You know what I mean? Kind of in the reverse of what you were saying before you let me up is that BLM, you think of Malcolm, all our shit that we dealt with this country has all been about police brutality and being treated equally.
Yeah.
That's all BLM is. I tell people all the time, Black lives has always mattered to us because we always had leaders that stressed that. They might have not just said BLM, but it's the same sentiment and it's the same shit going on that they were fighting about.
Well, the problem with BLM is they are arguing over civil rights, as you're talking about Black Lives Mattering and things like that, or police misconduct. The fact is, in this country, it doesn't matter what era we're talking about. If you are somebody that has fought or you're arguing about civil rights, people are going to call you a race baiter. And I mean, Martin Luther King included, there is not one civil rights leader in American history where people didn't call him a race baiter or a race hustler or point to something else that they were trying to do. Like even with Martin Luther King, it was him sleeping with prostitutes. With Black Lives Matter, they're talking about them mishandling funds and things like that. But there is no way to fight on behalf of civil rights and people view you as favorable. They're going to come up with something to dirty you with.
Okay, so, it's kind of just made me think of something else. So could Obama stress those points and aggravations of his community when he was trying to run for president?
What do you mean?
If he had those views and stressed those points while he was running for president, you think Barack Obama would ever be president? Would have been president?
If he had to start dibbling and dabbling too much in it, he would have been called a race hustler like Al Sharpton or Jesse Jackson too, and it would have hurt his presidency. Or its chances to win.
So if he would have said something about the hints or whatever a black job is, more than likely our community would probably be like, yeah, okay, he understands what a black job is.
Well, I'll tell you from his presidency, one of the most unfavorable statements a lot of folks, definitely on the right, still chastise him for is saying that Trayvon Martin could be his only son. The minute he took a side in that, they still hold him accountable for that. So yeah, if he had got involved in a bunch of different racial issues, it would have hurt him. Because fact is, in this country, a large portion of white America does not like hearing about racial issues. It just the history of it is so awful. They don't want to hear about it.
But yet it keeps rearing its ugly head, and I think that's always been the push and pull of what we're trying to do in this nation that we're trying to form. And, so when people say, hey, leave it alone and this and that, how can we leave something alone that's never been dealt with?
It's a good point. That's the whole, I think it's Morgan Freeman that had a video floating around that says, how you stop racism, stop talking about it or something like that. And I said at the time when that video started floating around, I thought that was the dumbest thing ever. There is no atrocity ever. I don't care if it's the abuse of children, racism, whatever the case may be, government corruption. There is no atrocity that will ever go away if people stop talking about it. That's what the people who are doing it want. If I'm secretly robbing banks at night, I prefer a town that don't talk about it. Who would think that racism would go away if you simply stopped talking about it? I thought that was the dumbest thing I ever heard.
And to your point where you've already settled it, that, I think that's the difference between, Joe trying to unite the country and clearly the other guy's just trying to divide it down the fucking middle.
But do you really believe Joe Biden was trying to unite the country?
Well, in the sense of what you just said, I've often said when he put him back in chains, I really wasn't offended because, I understood him. But what I also understood that who would understand an old white tea man from that era better than another old white tea man from that era? Yeah. So when he said it, I'm like, he's looking in the mirror because he knows that guy because he might have been that guy. Has he atoned? Has he evolved?
Well, yeah, but history would make it clear he was really wrong about Mitt Romney. If you look back, particularly on the right side of the aisle, at all of the folks they've put up to run this nation over the last 20 years or something like, Mitt Romney is one of the softest ones out of all of them. To suggest that Mitt Romney gonna put us back in chains, like all of the folks that have, I mean, you had 9 guys run against Trump in the primary. You've had, I mean, out of all the people you can think about, Mitt Romney is probably one of the softest ones they could have put up.
Okay. I mean, soft, I don't know. I've told you before, in my honest opinion, I don't know where they see a tough guy in Trump. I'm from places.
Well, put it this way. Take the word soft out. I mean, in terms of equality, versus being a racist. Mitt Romney doesn't come across as somebody who's going to be imposing a bunch of racist policies.
I bet there's a lot of people in this country that hire felons that look like me and you, do things in the community, but yet behind closed doors, the nicest man in the neighborhood is giving right a chance. Literally feel some type of other way.
Yeah, but keep in mind.
I understand what you're saying.
Well, keep in mind, Mitt Romney was a governor of Massachusetts, a very liberal state, and he was able to make the governor there. He also is the one who started out Obamacare before Obama. He's the one that first came up with an Affordable Care Act for the citizens of Massachusetts. He's not very far right.
I agree. I'm just making a point.
Okay, all right.
We don't know who these people really are.
That's true.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
They say the same about us, but you are right. They're saying the same thing about us too, though.
It's true. I know you got moving on. I'm saying one more thing. When you was talking about the freedom of speech, it's just so funny that we don't know what that all entitles. It's a freedom of expression in any kind of way. I hear all these so-called. And, I'm going to whisper to you that real alpha males don't have to come out and rip out their shirt and put a big A on their chest and say, I'm a fucking alpha male. You know what I mean? Just because I take the fucking trash out or, my wife changes tires, I'm supposed to feel some kind of inferiority or some bullshit. You know what I mean? I don't understand that. But, hey, that's their thing.
There's your 2 biggest alpha males in America right now, right there on screen for you. That's going to be your 2 biggest alpha males for some time now. So,
okay.
We'll see.
They, to be honest with you, they look like what they don't like. They look like they probably into each other. I wouldn't be surprised.
As opposed to that statement, you ever see the game Mortal Kombat where they, right before you fight, they put the 2 characters, they put verses. If you put verses in, but that's what it looked like. Like they go into, I really do believe they're going to have a falling out. We'll see, but I don't believe that relationship is going to go very well.
And on the side note, man, they got this new doc coming out. I don't know if you're up on it, that Mr. Abraham Lincoln was a part of the LGBTQIA.
Oh my God! They want to say that Abraham Lincoln was gay.
Man, there's a lot of historians, a lot of factual shit. Hey, Google it. Just Google it on some bullshit one day or right now, or whatever. Yeah, man, it seems to be all credible shit.
4-7 dicks ago. I gotta move it on, man. I gotta move it on.
Love the show.
Oh, thank you, appreciate it. Oh my God, they gonna go back on in the when did Abraham Lincoln? When did he die? 18 what? Bring it up that he was gay. Oh my God, Jesus Christ! All right, let me go back to. I wanted to read a super chat here from guess what? So butthurt over Trump, we still calling names. We should spend more time coming together to fix our problems on why we lost. Well, what you're basically saying is we should. You almost sound like Fetterman or Bill Maher, who are what the right refers to as more sensible liberals. You're saying we should stop being so butthurt over Kamala Harris losing to Trump, and the Democrats should just come together and unify and figure out why we lost the election. Well, I don't think Trump wants that to happen. The point I'm saying is this. If the Democrats tried to come together and do what you're saying, and as opposed to being butthurt about losing to Trump, they tried to come together and focus on how they could win the next election, Trump would come in the middle of that and continue inside. I think Trump wants us to be butthurt. There's a reason why they're selling cups that say liberal tears and fuck your feelings and things like that. Trump doesn't want you to do that. And I think because he doesn't want you to do that, it would be harder to do it. Not saying this, I'm not disagreeing with your suggestion, but I do believe this is the whole divisive thing. I think Trump wants us to be at each other and fighting and thing. I mean, because look, he seems to be victorious when there is division. So I think he wants that. But I like the suggestion. I just don't think it'll happen when you got somebody out there that's trolling as good as Trump likes to troll. Looking in the comments, you checking IPS. I don't know what you're saying about that. What you say, 4 scores. Yeah, I did say that. Gen X says, I doubt Honest Abe was an ass pirate. Look, I doubt it. I don't know if it's relevant, but I'm curious and I want to know about it now. He's saying that Abraham Lincoln was a member of the LGBT community. First of all, how would they be able to prove that? How would they even be able to prove that this far out in the game? America's been so good at hiding things about our history that we don't want to admit. How would that information have gotten through? That's the first thing I'd be saying. There's a difference between being an alpha male and being a bully. Timothy, maybe I don't disagree with that, but sometimes they're one and the same. Sometimes they are one and the same. Going to the box, John. Good evening, welcome to the program, John. I think Florida Blondie doesn't get BBC. That's why she always mad. Damn, who Florida Blondie? John, good evening. John, are you there? Okay, apparently John is not there. We'll move it on. Trump is a weak man's idea of a strong man. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, he gets the girl. He seems to win all the damn time. I mean, why would you say he's a weak man's idea of a strong man? He seems to be fairly strong in my opinion. Didn't he say if you vote for me and I win, you're going to get tired of winning? He seems to have lived up to that promise. You got Roe v. Wade rolled back. You got a 6-3 majority in the Supreme Court. Now you have control of Congress, the Senate, the presidency. For all intents and purposes, he seems to be kicking a lot of ass to me. I don't know. A weak man's idea of a strong man. Then what do you want for a strong man? Does Biden come across as a strong man? I'd be curious. That's why Florida Blondie. Somebody really attacked Florida Blondie. Wow, LGBTQ, let's get Biden to quit. I have heard of those acronyms before, Gen X. Says LGBTQ means let's get Biden to quit. Well, that has successfully, well, he didn't quit. Well, he did quit. He did quit. He did actually give it to Kamala Harris. I don't think he had a choice, really. I heard that his debate before. I actually listened to that again today, and I was like, damn. I mean, when not only you hear him just not that part where he started talking about, and we did fix Medicare, which was not even the topic they were discussing. But then when Trump gets in there and Trump starts delivering a strong attack, and you look at Biden's face, it's like he looks like he don't even know where he's at. I mean, his debate performance was terrible, like really, really bad. So I don't think he had a choice. He had to quit after that. Do you like Luke Bryan? I don't listen to any. He's a musician. He's a country music singer. I don't listen to any of his music. Trump also said it would be easier to win the right because they are gullible. He has said that. He definitely has said that before. Continuing on with the program. I think some of you folks are actually tapping the screen. Wow, I feel special. Tap the screen. Yeah, so shield my screen back there. Get the likes up to about 40,000. We can make that happen. Continuing on. Smartest thing this dude ever said, says JG. Okay, well, I'll appreciate that. You know I don't block, ban, or censor. We are MAGA friendly here. Been that way since day one. You can be critical of the host, so feel free to do so. She is mad. That's karma she started. All right. I don't troll. I don't copy, paste constantly. Alter Ego. Thank you for the graphic there. I appreciate that. Shout out to you. Thanks for the support. Biden was never running anything. Neither was Kamala. Now, he has Kami K. You know, here's one of the things I always bring up. The right is always so damn pissed off when folks call Trump a racist or call him mustache man or all this shit. But yet, you don't have any problem calling Kamala Harris a commie. there's nothing communistic about Kamala Harris. Just like Obama was a socialist. You had 8 years of Obama. This country didn't come any damn near close to becoming a socialist country. So if you don't like folks calling Trump these names, but you're calling liberals those names, then I just think you're being a hypocrite. If you don't want people calling Trump names, don't call these folks those names. Don't believe, I guess you're talking about the LGBT community, they think Palestine stands with the Democrat. Yeah, that's crazy. I never could understand that the Democratic Party was pro-Palestine and pro-LGBTQ. You couldn't even be LGBTQ in the Palestinian, in Gaza. They wouldn't even allow that. Some of that stuff didn't make any sense. Some of that stuff seemed kind of backwards. They can't define communist or socialist. Chris, I think there's some validity to that. I do believe there's a lot of people who are calling liberals communists and calling calling liberals socialists. Well, actually, every IST there is, other than capitalists, they call the liberals. Marxists, fascists, communists, socialists, they call them all of those things. You obviously can't be every one of those at once. But so I do agree with you, Chris, that some folks are calling people that shit and because they don't really know what it is. They don't know the definition of it. They just know it demonizes the left, so they throw it out there. Because Obama was called all of those things. They can't be all of these at the same time. Will G, appreciate the support. Thank you, Will. Trump is a bitch. I guess that's what you're trying to say, mind you. Jesus. The only reason Trump wants to go after Panama is because he overstayed his welcome and refused to pay taxes. Now he wants to hide besides the military might and take the canal. I really hope we don't do that. To me, when people talk about how wrong it is to call Trump the mustache man and things like that, that does sound mustache man-ish like to do something like that. When you start talking about Canada would be a great 51st state, we need Greenland for our national security. You know how narcissistic that sounds? America needs to take Greenland for their national security. What kind of shit is that? It starts to sound mustache man like. It sounds like mustache 1930-ish mustache man like. When he was starting to talk this way before his conquest to take over the world. How could you say you need to take over a sovereign country for your national security? In other words, maybe your country is in the way of getting to one of our adversaries, so we need your airspace. So you're just going to take over our shit. I mean, and he's kind of getting a pass for that from the right. That's horrible. Remember, he was not supposed to get us into any new conflicts. That sounds exactly the opposite of that. To me, and that ain't out of context. That's not comedy. That's bad, in my opinion. I really don't. I really think the whole conquest talk, Mexico, talking about deeming the cartel as terrorists and things like that, giving us an excuse to go into Mexico. The whole Canada 51st state, what is that, annexing Canada? And then, of course, Greenland and Panama now. That's 4 countries. 4 countries already he's talking about. That sounds like some mustache man type talk. Florida Blondie is lonely and mad at us with color. Twitch Boy said, are you suggesting that Florida Blondie is mad with black people? Jesus. All right, I don't know where to go with that. Let me look in the comments, though. Ocean has been active. Invite him to follow you. Yeah, Ocean. TikTok is suggesting I invite you to follow me. By the way, folks, if you do enjoy this type of dialogue from all sides of the aisle, because we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. I always say we are MAGA friendly. Always have been MAGA friendly. Always will be MAGA friendly. Nevertheless, as you see, liberals are welcome on the program as well. But we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. There's not a snowflake in sight here. You can be critical of anyone in the comment section up to and including the host. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q. We allow everybody to speak. So that's how we do the program. If you enjoy that type of dialogue, feel free to follow the program on TikTok. Subscription on YouTube, if you will. Real quick, looking in the comments, I just want to make sure I didn't pass it. Trump makes the USA Islamic State. That ain't gonna happen. Florida, watch that musty coochie before you spew your. Where is this Florida blondie? I've seen you in the comments before. Are you? Where is this person at? Because damn, y'all attacking the hell out of this Florida blondie. I have seen Florida blondie in the comments before. I've read some of her comments, but damn, she definitely seems to have attracted a lot of unwanted attention tonight. The comment I see from Florida blondie says, "Let's make products in the USA again." What's wrong with that? I don't see any. What is she saying that's getting you guys? Poor Florida blondie, damn. Duty to warn letter. Have you heard of it? Yes, I have heard of that. I have heard of it. She is racist, says Mr. Backshot Therapy. She talked about bringing jobs back to America. How is that racist? Okay, maybe I saw something. Maybe I missed something. Tim hates the independents. I don't really think there are any independents, Marcy. I really don't. Come the general election, they're going left or right. I mean, there's just not enough independents to make a difference. It helped Trump out because a lot of independents that would have voted for JFK went for RFK, went for Trump. But at the end of the day, you're voting left or right. That's it. I mean, so you can be independent, but at the end, and by the way, the independent category represents a lot of different parties. There's just not enough of that to be relevant, at least not in our current lifetime. I think Ross Perot got a lot of votes, but he ended up costing, I think, George H.W. Bush the election, and Bill Clinton won. Other than that, give me some well-known independent candidates throughout history. I mean, they don't really do that well. Will says the only reason Trump doesn't want TikTok gone is because he got a $15 million donation. Trump ain't shit. Well, he is claiming that TikTok is also responsible for him doing very well in the election. But I've had a lot of folks tell me, Trump's a billionaire, and one reason why they like him, he donated his salary and he can't be bought. Yeah, I do believe Trump can be bought. I think Elon Musk is a perfect example of that, but also his stance on gun ownership after the Mandalay Bay shooting shows the NRA bought him as well. So I don't think you have any politician that can't be bought. And I don't think Trump is any better than any of the other ones. I just think he was saying something and people bought into it. But I do believe Trump can be bought as well. Because Elon Musk really, really changed his stance on electric vehicles. He went from constantly ridiculing e-vehicles, lithium batteries, and all of that shit to dead silence the minute Elon joined the team. So, I believe Trump can be bought. Trump, what does that say? Is make USA Islamic State, ban women's rights. Oh, you're saying Trump is going to make America an Islamic State by imposing strict bans on shit, similar to how they do it, such as he said he's going to ban women's rights, decriminalize all domestic violence. Where are you getting that one from? He's going to decriminalize all domestic violence, which is just going to allow women to get their ass beat on. I haven't seen anything to base that on. Allow for forced marriages. Where are you getting that one from? Forced marriages? And ban all women's divorce rights. I have heard them talking about making divorce more difficult. I have heard something about that. Make all women wear hijabs and ban women's sex until 21. He ain't going to do all that. You're going a bit overboard. The Dems changed a lot since 2008. How? The transgender thing, I think that the Democrats made it easier for transgender to come out of the closet, and that's counted as a change. Because you said the Democrats changed a lot since 2008. Give me some more examples. Well, yeah, I guess you're right when I'm thinking about it. Their stance on illegal immigration. Obviously, the Democratic stance on illegal immigration from Obama to Biden is a complete 180. Obama was known as the deporter in chief. Biden was known as open border. So I agree with you there. What else? The economy was great under Obama and known to be horrible under Biden. I mean, I guess if I really look at it, you do have a point that the output of the Democrats is viewed completely different than it was under Obama. Most of the issues that were used to heavily criticize Biden on that allowed Trump to win did not really exist under Obama. Most of the things that Trump won on would not have been there for him to use if Obama was president. So I do agree when you say that Democrats have changed a lot since 2008 because their stance on immigration, they weren't pro-Palestinian like they are now. All of that shit wasn't happening. The LGBT community stuff was not happening. Now, the racial issues are going to be there. The Democratic Party are always going to be more quickly to see social justice issues. The right is going to be more quickly to deny that stuff. I mean, like, for instance, if you are a person of color and you lost your life in a controversial manner while under police care, the right is usually going to come up with a way of why the police weren't guilty of doing it. I mean, there's a lot of, George Floyd died of fentanyl and shit. I mean, they're going to come up with a way. So I do believe in that area, they are kind of the same because Obama was pro Black Lives Matter as well. But there are plenty of issues where the Democrats have went further to the left since Obama. So I can't disagree with that. All women required to make sandwiches for men. Gen X. And Gen X, you are somewhat what he's talking about because you do believe women should not be to serve in the military. You believe women, for the most part, should have that June Cleaver. For you guys who are old enough to know who I'm talking about, that June Cleaver role, or Miss Brady from the Brady Bunch role, they should be at home. You do believe closer to that. So you kind of sound like what my guest was talking about rolling things back a little bit, not necessarily an Islamic state, but you do support some of the things from that. You believe that men and women should have lanes and you should stay in your lane. There are roles for men, roles for women. Imagine Trump with an iron fist. He would send 99% of immigrants back to Venezuela and take all their oil. I think that's a real possibility of that. I think there's a real possibility of him sending immigrants back to where they came from and coming up with reasons why. Yeah, there's a real possibility of that happening, I think. I had a rule in the military when it came to both men and women. I carried an M60 miles of they couldn't keep up, get out. I guess you're talking about if a female could not carry an M60 several miles. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I'm totally in favor of women's equality, but I do believe that there shouldn't be special rules if you are a woman in those type of positions. I mean, if you're a female cop, people are calling 911 to get their lives saved. If a person dials 911, they don't have the ability to demand a man come out. The police are going to send you whoever is nearby. So, yeah, if a female comes, she should be able to basically do anything a man can do. Same thing in the military. So I don't believe that women should be denied the ability to serve in these roles, but I do believe they should have to measure up. However fast you got to run, whatever weight you got to carry, the equipment you got to wear on you, they should be able to do the same task while wearing that heavy equipment and stuff that a man should do. I mean, I do agree with that. I mean, I don't think that a woman that's, 105 pounds, 4'8", 4'11" or something like that would make a good cop. If she can meet the qualifications at that size, then so be it. But I don't think that would happen. Real quick in the comments, women need to stay cooking, says Demon. Jesus. Women need to stay cooking, huh? God, cruel and unusual. Real quick before I go back here, I don't know what just happened there. How about this? We trade California, Washington, and Oregon for Canada. Just let me out of California first. If time on my side, I get your sarcasm. You want to trade the liberal states of Washington, Oregon, and California for Canada. Just let me out of California. You do understand once you take Canada on, Just getting rid of California alone. California is the world's 5th largest economy. They have the 5th highest GDP. So the minute you get rid of those states, for Canada, you're going to make America far more poorer. I guess instead of MAGA, be MAPA, make America poor again. But you're also going to get rid of our entertainment industry, because a lot of Hollywood is where a lot of our entertainment comes from. You're getting rid of Canada. Ain't putting out a lot of hit music and movies, are they? Jessica, yeah, appreciate the hat mustache. Thank you, Jessica. Appreciate that. You want to trade the weather of California, Oregon, and Washington for Canada? That ain't a good trade. I don't think that's a good trade. All right, let me go back. I don't think that's a good trade at all. I think there's more to criticize than just liberalism. I think that's a terrible trade. That was Jessica Martinez. Thank you for that. Appreciate the hat and mustache. Thank you, folks, to show your boys some support. When them hats and mustaches and galaxies and shit come in, I do appreciate that. It helps me get equipment and shit like that for the show. So thank you, folks, very much. I do got a soundboard that I've been meaning to start using that, makes applauses and shit, stuff like that. And it sounds like Lil Jon there. Different sounds, but I haven't been using it, but I do have that on standby. Anyway, looking in the comments, Hollywood, so what they need to go. That's your opinion. I definitely think that you get rid of Hollywood, you'd miss that. Biden versus Missouri, government was caught curtailing free speech. In what way? Luigi died, says Damien. Luigi ain't going nowhere. Come on, guys, hit the likes. This is a great channel where we are free to talk. Florida Blondie. Wow. That's not very racist of you. They suggested that Florida Blondie was intolerant. See? Florida Blondie is one of the team. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yes, hit the like button. Help your boy out. Smash that like button if you feel that you enjoy this type of shit. Feel free to drop a subscription and follow on YouTube as well. Thank you. Florida Blondie. Shout out to you. Go Lions. Fuck the Lions. Why are you blocking me from seeing comments? How would I do that, Fancy? I don't even know how to do that. Why would I block a viewer from seeing other folks' comments? I encourage you to communicate with each other. I don't block, ban, or censor anyone. I don't have a way of doing that. Do I? Let me click on your name. I don't see any way I could block your comments there, Fancy. Yeah, I don't know how you... Comment settings, what is that? Allow comments, I got that on. Filter comments. I don't know. Okay, that's spam stuff. Okay, I can't block any comments from. Maybe there's not any coming in. I don't know. Fancy. I don't block comments. I don't do that. You can get moderators. We don't have a moderator, Warren. For the simple fact, I am so much in favor of free speech that I don't want to risk having a biased moderator come on the program and limit certain people's opinion. So, I've had people ask, can they moderate the program? And I know if they lean left, they're going to be critical of Trump supporters. If they are MAGA, they're not going to want liberals to get good shit through. So I'm so much of a proponent of free speech. I've never had a moderator. I think I had one dude in the beginning, a few years back, when I didn't know how this worked. But no, I don't use moderators. This is a completely free speech program. Only time I will moderate somebody is when they're just deliberately typing the same shit over and over again, or when they start typing things that will trigger the censorship of the apps. I have to block it because I don't want you taking the whole fucking program down. I don't give a damn. If you type the N-word, whatever the hell you want, I wouldn't care. But if it's going to cause YouTube or TikTok to start throwing strikes against the whole fucking program, then I got to take you out. So that's about the only time it'll happen. It's only happened for me about a handful of times. But I don't block, ban, or release. I don't believe in censoring. Florida Blondie was saying some racist stuff. She was, says Demon. It happens. I mean, folks are going to say that the left said. I'd have to see it. I'll just say that. Look, if I see things that seem intolerant, I call it out. And I see a lot of folks that definitely think that she is I see a lot of folks that definitely think you are racist, Florida Blondie. It's all in the comments. Yeah, good memories. Those sounds are iconic. Yeah. Like I said, I do have a soundboard, but I don't want to get too cheesy on the program. I just like a good conversation between friends, MAGA, independents, liberals, and to keep it authentic and genuine. I could, I click on a button here or there. I might do it, may start doing it, but I like to just keep it genuine. That's what we do here. Does Trump make it to January 6th, 2025? Yeah, with flying colors. Yeah, why would he make it to January 6th? How many days away is that? About 10 days or so now? I mean, that's getting pretty close. Yeah, he'll make it to January 6th. Pedocrats are communists. I don't know how anybody can start using the pedo word with Democrats anymore after the video I showed of Trump talking about the tits on a 1-year-old. I don't think it even holds weight anymore. I think when you got him on TV saying that kind of crazy shit, I don't even think it's even worth discussing anymore. And that's in addition to him talking about he would be dating his own daughter and all that other stuff. So you can't be using pedo against the Democrats when the president is saying crazy stuff like that.
It's the lost Donald Trump video that has people talking. Trump and then-wife Marla Maples appeared on the TV show Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous back in 1994. Host Robin Leach asked about their daughter Tiffany, who was then just a year old.
Now, Donald, what does Tiffany have of yours and what does Tiffany have of Miles?
Well, I think that she's got a lot of Marla. She's a really beautiful baby, and she's got Marla's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet, but time will tell.
Daily Show host.
That's crazy that he would literally do that in describing a 1-year-old kid, put his hands to his chest like he's talking about titties on a 1-year-old. And you want to start talking about the pedocrats. This is why I said Kamala Harris lost. Is because in addition to her not being a great candidate, in addition to her being a woman and a person of color, I said that she also was on the wrong end of a hell of a lot of double standards. This is terrible. And the right way, I mean, yeah, it happened years ago, but they could bring up, Biden allegedly being in his daughter's diary. They could bring up Willie Brown. This didn't come up. This is terrible. This is, you're sexualizing a toddler. The kid can't even speak yet. And you're talking about whether it's going to have titties or not. So this is why we say TDS. Meadow Dreams. No, TD. Let me tell you what TDS is. TDS means you're critical of President Trump. If you love Trump so much, you tattooed his face on the side of your own, or put his face on the side of your car, you would never have TDS. You can only have TDS when you don't like Trump. Then that ain't TDS. I'll tell you something. Everybody knows damn well if there was an old clip of Biden doing this shit, the right would be all over it. This is creepy as fuck. We can talk about Trump's economy and things. There are legitimate reasons to like Trump as president. I get it. But there's no excuse for this. He's talking about whether his 1-year-old will have titties like his wife. He's talking about his 1-year-old has sexy legs like his wife. At 1. Who looks at a 1-year-old and thinks of that kind of shit? Like I said before, a 1-year-old kid has legs that look like a damn turkey leg or a pork chop. They're not shapely at 1. They're usually pretty damn fat. Who looks at a 1-year-old and says that kind of stuff? I get the economy and strengthening the border and reasons why you like Trump. And I'm not taking that away from anybody. As I said, there are a lot of legitimate reasons to like Trump over Biden. But that don't mean you excuse something that is as creepy as this shit. Undeniably creepy. There's just no way to call it anything else. Well, it's old. All right. And I see in the comments, Fancy Prince, even you said that's bizarre. Yeah, it's a 1-year-old kid. And he's talking about whether the kid gonna have titties or not. I mean, Jesus. So, like I said, but Tim, that was 30 years ago. Hello, yeah, exactly. It was 30 years ago. When it comes to Trump, it's old, but when it comes to Willie Brown or the crime bill of 1994, because this happened right around the crime bill, didn't it? What year did she say this happened?
It's the lost Donald Trump video that has people talking. Trump and then wife Marla Maples appeared on the TV show Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous back in 1994.
The 94 crime bill. It's the same fucking year. It's the same year as the 94 crime bill. We can bring up the 94 crime bill. We can't bring this up. They happened the same year. These two things happened at the same time. And I don't know how long ago Willie Brown took place, but it probably goes back somewhere in that era too. I don't care about his competitors or any party politics and rivalry. I don't care. I know men like him. They are very charismatic and psychopathic. His supporters are not bad, or they just exist. I don't quite get what you're saying, but you said, I don't care about his competitors or any party politics and rivalry. I don't care. I know men like him. They are very charismatic and psychopathic. His supporters are not bad or good. They just exist. I don't know where you're going with that, but like I said, this looks creepy as hell. This looks creepy as hell. He didn't even remember who he was on a helicopter with. Yeah, that made no sense. That whole, they're going down on a helicopter and this dude just decided to bring up him having an affair with Kamala Harris. Like, Trump didn't even know who Kamala Harris was back then. Why would he bring this up to you if y'all about to in a helicopter crash? And then, of course, Willie Brown comes out and says, I wasn't even to do it on a helicopter with him. Now, that sounds like Trump was having a Biden moment. We don't really criticize Trump for being out of his mind like we do Biden. But the fact is, you claim that you were on a helicopter about to crash, and you don't even remember the dude that was talking to you on it. Why wasn't this shown during the election? I don't know why it was not shown during the election there, Donna K, but I will say it goes back to what I said earlier, why Kamala Harris lost. The third reason being she was on the wrong end of double standards. If Kamala Harris was sexualizing some young 1-year-old boy, questioning whether he was going to have, junk in a trunk when he got older, the right would have brought that up and been criticizing the hell out of her. I don't care if it was 30, 40 years ago. If she was talking about her 1-year-old son and wonder if he's going to have a big pecker like his dad, they would be on that. I mean, this is a baby. It ain't even a kid. This is a baby you're doing that to. I don't know. Like I said, he is really good at escaping justified criticism. Criticism that we know he would levy on his opponent. If his opponent did exactly what he did here, he would be bringing it up at every rally. So I got to get a man credit. He somehow, some way has found a way not to be held accountable for things that he should be held accountable for. This is really bad. And like I said, there are other cases out there of him seeing some strange girl on an escalator. I think she was about 10. And suggested that he would be dating her in a few years. Who looks at a 10-year-old and says, damn, this kid is so fine in about 6 or 7 years, or 6 or 7 years, I guess, if you're Matt Gaetz. But if you're in about 10 years, I'm gonna be dating. Who looks at a 10-year-old and says something like that? There's video of him saying that. And then there's also video of him on The View saying that, if his daughter wasn't his daughter, he would be dating her. If he's saying all this shit on TV, what is he saying behind the scenes? Now, remember, he used to own Miss Teen USA? Can you imagine if he's comfortable enough to say this on TV, what he was saying to those? I'm not trying to accuse the guy of anything, but I'm just simply saying this is looking and sounding a lot like a duck. If you got that, I mean, there's three or four really pedo, I guess that's pedo, suspiciously sounding pedo type clips of him out there. The one about sleeping with his own daughter and the one about the 10-year-old. And then this one, if he's getting caught on national TV doing that stuff and he owns a beauty pageant, just think of it this way. Your daughter's in a beauty pageant and the owner of the beauty pageant has been caught on TV saying this stuff, would you keep your daughter in it? Even if it was a celebrity or a famous person, would you keep your daughter in that beauty pageant if the owner was saying this kind of stuff? Do what is he said referring to his wife. Do what he said was referring to his wife. No, he's not referring to his what? What? You're telling me this clip right here is Trump, what he is saying? No, he's not referring to his wife.
It's the lost Donald Trump video that has people talking. Trump and then wife Marla Maples appeared on the TV show Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous back in 1994. Host Robin Leach asked about their daughter Tiffany, who was then just a year old.
Now, Donald, what does Tiffany have of yours and what does Tiffany have of Marla's?
Now, he clearly asked him, what does Tiffany? He's not married to Tiffany. That's his fucking kid. He's asking him questions about his kid, not his wife. What do you mean he's referring to his wife? He's asking him, what does the kid have? All right. Biden slept with his hired babysitter and then married her. At least she is of age. I don't know. Like I said, even if Biden got with a 16, 17, even if Biden went Matt Gaetz, even if Biden pulled a Matt Gaetz, this kid is one. This kid is one. You're talking about the titties on a 1-year-old. This kid is one. All right, come up with any excuse you want to for it. I mean, the kid is one. Jesus. All right, I can't even believe somebody's trying to justify that. And I see in the comments, Gen X is tearing me a new one. He says, this is why we call you folks the insane left. I don't know, Gen X. If you think what we're talking about here is insane, I gotta say, it sounds insane for you to have that opinion. You think it's really insane to criticize Trump for questioning whether his 1-year-old was going to have titties like his wife? You really think it's wrong to do that? You really think it's insane to do that? Okay. He is a creep like 10-year-old. He is a creep. He like 10-year-olds. Yeah. He says Dems will find anything to take out of context. You really think this is being taken out of context, Florida Blondie? You really think that's what this is? You really think him? Where's the?
I think that she's got a lot of moral. She's really a beautiful baby, and she's got Marla's legs. We don't know whether or not she's.
You really think him putting his hands on his chest like that? What context is that? He's questioning whether his 1-year-old is going to have Marla Maples titties. Tell me how is that taken? Tell me what context that should be taken into. I'm trying to figure out, when is it even okay to discuss whether a 1-year-old should have your wife's titties? Wow. I don't even know where to go with that. I don't even know where to go with that. That's the first thing he can say about his daughter, calls her the baby. Yeah, I don't even. If you think that's out of context, then there is no such thing as context. They will find a way to defend him. He's a creep. He likes 10-year-olds, says Twitch Boy. This person ain't even 10. They won. They won. Jesus. Anyhow, folks, you guys know I do appreciate what do we work with today? 33,000. I didn't ask you guys to tap the screen as much, but some of you folks showed your boy some love for a subscriber only live. I think that I'll take the 33,000 or whatever the hell it is. I do appreciate that. And certainly Mike with the underwater display. Appreciate that indeed, Mike. Thank you for showing the program some love. I'll take that as a Merry Christmas to me. Thank you for that support, Mike, on the program. I was going to do a Christmas lifestyle. I'm like, it probably ain't enough people out here. People, spending time with their families and shit like that. So I wanted to come on here and holler at you guys about, I forget what it was, but it doesn't matter. You working hard, says Mike. Thank you, Mike. I'm always in the trenches. My MAGA side challenges the fuck out of me. I enjoy them doing it, but they do push back hard. Certainly suggesting that this is being taken out of context with Trump referring to a 1-year-old, whether they have titties, and they're saying that his 1-year-old got his wife's legs. I cannot even imagine looking at the legs of a 1-year-old and comparing them to an adult. Unless only way I could see a 1-year-old's legs looking like a full-grown adult is if it was a really obese adult that was out of weight, overweight with the, crinkly legs, wrinkles and folds everywhere. Because that's normally what a 1-year-old looks like. They still got fat and rolls everywhere. Wow. And people said I'm taking that out of context. Okay. Grooming like a barbershop. I like that. Grooming like a barbershop. I love it. Everyone is so optimistic things will get better after the Republicans take control in January. Well, because they do. Well, what, you say everyone was? No, you said everyone is so optimistic. Well, because the perception is Biden did a really piss poor job. A lot of Americans think Biden did a really bad job. And they're comparing the 4 years of Biden to the 4 years prior, and they see the 4 years prior as much better. Now, they are striking a few things, like an incredibly divided country and the handling of the pandemic. They're basically holding Biden accountable for all his 4 years, and they're holding Trump accountable for the first 3. So under Trump, the first 3 years we had a good. They're giving Trump credit for some of his administration. They're hammering Biden for all of his. So, pedocrats are violent, sore losers. Pedocrats are violent, sore losers. All right. So that's what you see happen to Ashley Babbitt. Violent pedocrat took out Ashley Babbitt. Ashley Biden's diary is real. Not according to Ashley Biden. She said it's not. Surround your kids with family around the clock, no matter the age of the child. Florida Blondie is quite now defending creeps. It's about that time. Maybe it's time for me to log out. You guys, thank you for tuning in. I will be here tomorrow, as Orphan Annie once sang. So thank you for the 33,000 likes. Thank you for smashing that like button on YouTube. It is indeed your boy, Tim, the Handsome Liberal.